Hey, whoever's just in that 3 wide.
Live from the recently reconfigured Atlanta Motor Speedway, the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series brings you to the second race in the round of 16 in the inaugural playoffs as these drivers get set to be battling the NRE Power Systems 200 tonight. With me in the booth tonight, Will Tiller. As always, I'm Tyler Dittmer. Will, second race in the first round of the playoffs. These drivers may be trying to set themselves up either to have a strong third race or maybe trying to win this wild card race that Atlanta has become.
Yeah, here in the ATL, the Dirty Birds will be flying here tonight. Home of Little John and the East Side Boys here. This middle race of round one of the playoffs here in the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series. Last week, Tyler, we saw Carey Trabue lock himself into the next round. Let's see which driver here tonight can lock themselves into the next round here in the playoffs.
And we'll actually take the time, meanwhile, as these drivers wrap up practice to look at that point standings. Right now, you see Carey Trabue with that win last week in Richmond Motor Speedway, locking himself into the next round with Watkins Glen and Charlotte in the Fast 12. Meanwhile, as you look at the rest of the points, drivers like Nathan Maurer and Justin White come into this week pretty comfortably. Just really needing a finish here tonight. Getting the truck across the line should lock them both into the next round. But then you look at two big-name drivers who had great regular seasons, Adam Newbert, Steve Barnett. They both missed last week at Richmond. That means they cannot lock themselves in with a win. Well, they will have to point their way in, and that should make for some very exciting action as both of those drivers will be looking for stage points tonight.
Yeah, exactly. We talked about Adam Newbert there in the month of February. Very hot, racking up all that cash money in there across all these series here in Nazareth. But now here in March, it's crunch time in the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series. Finds himself on the outside looking in. And also the same could be said about Tim Hammond in that 69 machine there, Tyler. A driver who has never really stacked up to those great finishes you would think that Tim can really stack up there. Here now, it's crunch time in Atlanta. He needs to get the job done.
Yeah, you bring up the fact that Tim Hammond's not been able to stack up those finishes. Neither has Sean Hamilton, who's the driver on the bubble. Both of them have been outside the top 15 in the last 3 and last 5 races, respectively. And the last time we were on a super speedway, Tim Hammond actually had a pretty good outcome in the Hillbilly Custom Bait 135 All-Star race at Talladega Motor Speedway. He finished inside the top 5, actually won the midway break cash grab in that race. And that race was marred with controversy, if you don't remember, Will. Brady LaBeouf jumped that final restart, ended up being penalized, finishing last truck on the lead lap despite crossing the finish line first, Will. The winner of that race was actually Steve Barnett, a driver who needs a solid finish on a super speedway here tonight in Atlanta.
It's solid. I'm thinking Tyler tonight needs to be ice sculpture solid to have any hope of moving on to the next round here. The last truck on that playoff grid here, about 30 points outside of that cutoff line. Here we go, Tyler, looking at qualifying taking place now. You know, I like to say this is Charlotte Motor Speedway's little sister, little brother. Is that pretty much the same idea here tonight in Atlanta?
It was maybe 10 years ago, but with the repave that happened about 2 years ago that was brought to iRacing last summer, I believe, this has become essentially a Daytona shrunk down. Really high bank corners, over 30 degrees of banking in the turns on the steepest parts. Super wide front straightaway, super wide back straightaway, but those corners are very narrow. 3 wide is possible, but not recommended through the corners. And even the back straightaway is a little bit narrower than the front straightaway, where these trucks can fan out 4 and 5 wide, but they're going to have to get back in line really quickly as they come through and enter turns 1 and 2, Will. Completely different style of racing from what we've seen on mile and a halfs in the past.
Yeah, and talking about racing here tonight, Tim Hammond at 69 machines currently in his qualifying run. Hey, look, we just spoke about what that 69 has to get done. Here we'll see what kind of lap that 69 puts down right now. Daniel's on the top of the grid. See Blanchard in that 14. He's going to see what kind of lap he puts down there. Tyler here in qualifying. What we've seen so far here this season, the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series, Tyler's qualifying spot, essentially, it's not that big of a deal. Not to sugarcoat it there, but in the stage racing that we see here week in and week out, it is a lot of strategy that comes into play. That last pit stop, making sure to pit, under green. So here, as we watch these drivers, Tyler, what do you think these drivers are really trying to figure out here in these qualifying runs?
It kind of depends. If you're a driver that's going to rely on stage points tonight, like Adam Newbert, like Steve Barnett, you do want to qualify near the front. Stage one's only 30 laps. And at the way Atlanta has become, where you're going to see drivers running 29, 20-second laps, although 32-second laps qualifying, it's significantly faster now in the super speedway drafting system we exist in here at Atlanta. Also important to note, drivers in the playoffs will be denoted with a yellow bar over their name. Carey Trabue, though, being a winner last week, already moving on to the Fast 12, he will have a green bar around his name, something for the fans at home to keep track of. Our playoff drivers in yellow, and obviously Carey Trabue in the green, since he has already locked himself into the Fast 12. But Will, you mentioned it, qualifying hasn't really made a big deal, especially at super speedways, and that really does hold true at Atlanta. We look back at previous races and super speedways here in the SimRaceHub.com Truck Series. We've only had the Daytona Speed Weeks and the All-Star Race at Talladega, and of those, you've had 4 different winners, Will. Carey Trabue won the Clash. Torrey Thompson won his duel. Brandon Bullock won his duel. Robbie Richards, playoff driver, he won the Daytona season opener. And then Steve Barnett, like I mentioned, won the All-Star Race at Talladega. So, Will, maybe we'll have a 5th different winner on the Super Speedway tonight.
Yeah, we'll have to see right now as we're checking out Brendan Bradfoot in that 24 machine. Right now, that 24. As we watch Tyler, they just didn't have the season they were hoping for. They're squeezed in that last playoff spot. And now, right now, the 24 machine's currently the last truck on that grid.
Yeah, that's just his first outlap. The second laps have been faster. We've seen some drivers maybe cut that tri-oval or quad-oval here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Necessarily not against the rules in qualifying, but will be against the rules during the race, as that is essentially a double yellow line, although it's a red and white single line. See Adam Newbert, a driver who needs a great finish here tonight and a lot of stage points. He's currently your provisional pole sitter. Brandon Broadfoot coming down here to get his time. Can he improve? Yeah, he's going to jump up to 5th. That's a good start for Brandon Broadfoot, a driver who was in the top side of the 12 drivers trying to get into the Fast 12, but he's not clear by a lot of points coming into this thing, Will.
No, not at all. And what we saw there last week, a lot can be shaken up here in these playoff races. I feel like the drivers bring a different intensity into these playoff races. A little bit more hungrier, if you will, Tyler. They know what's on the line each week. Of course, these drivers, if you've been racing all season with us, you know that there's cash money on the line. But here in these playoff races, you have a bad race, Tyler. That can knock you out completely, and all that work you've been putting in all season to get into the playoffs could end in one bad race.
I will say maybe the caveat to that is Nate Maurer and Justin White. They are so comfortably points-wise entering this race. They could actually afford to have not a great race tonight, especially with Auto Club next week, the final race of the Sweet 16 here in the first round of the SimRacerHub.com inaugural playoffs. But I do want to bring up, some of these playoff drivers, their super speedway performances aren't that great. When you look at the Daytona kickoff race, Sean Hamilton, Adam Newbert, Brady LaBeouf, Tim Hammond, and Nathan Maurer all finished outside the top 15. Now, Nathan Maurer can afford to finish outside the top 15, but Tim Hammond, Sean Hamilton, and Adam Newbert cannot tonight. They must be inside the top 10. Really, they must be getting stage points throughout the entire night. In the case of Adam Newbert and in the case of Steve Barnett, they really need to be top 5 the entire race, Will.
Yeah, right now as we see that grid being led by Adam Newbert in that 4 machine, could be his race here tonight, Tyler. If he snags that victory, he might need a little bit more help to get him in. He might have to win here tonight, have a good run next week at Auto Club to have a chance. But right now, setting himself up in good shape. Currently, Chris Blanchard 2nd, Parsons 3rd, Richards 4th, and Tim Hammond at 69, currently 5th, top 5 currently for Tim Hammond at 69 there, Tyler, exactly where he needs to be.
Not really shocking when you look at the super speedway talent we see. Robbie Richards, your Daytona winner, he's currently 4th. Tim Hammond won the stage payout at the All-Star race at Talladega. He's currently sitting in 5th. Jason Morales, another very solid super speedway driver, he's 6th. Adam Newbert is a talent. No matter where he goes, he'll figure out how to drive the truck. He's your pole sitter. And you see throughout the field, it's just kind of pick and choose. Raul Meza led a ton of laps in the All-Star race at Talladega, got involved in a couple of late wrecks taking him out of contention. Right now, he is going to be qualified 10th, but he's a driver that I think we could see lead a lot of laps tonight. He led the most laps of any driver in the All-Star race, and he just really seems to have a handle on some of the super speedway type racing, Will.
Yeah, Tyler. But the thing is, and I think we mentioned in every broadcast here on the NASCAR 360 Racing Network, is that bad luck black cloud, I guess you could call it, that follows Raul Mezzo around in that 37 machine. Always competitive, always great runs, always fast behind the wheel, always holds it down. Somehow, some way, it's always at the end of those races, Tyler. You just touched on it. Gets entangled, gets damaged, drops out of maybe the top 10 after a strong run. 37 here tonight. Watch out. As you mentioned, Tyler, could be a sleeper in tonight's race.
Yeah, and it's really not just Raul Meza that seems to have that black cloud of bad luck around them. You could include Tim Hammond and John Hamilton. John Hamilton hasn't finished in the top 20, Will, in 6 races. And he's a playoff driver and a very talented one at that. But it seems that even though he'll run top 10 most races, he gets involved in a wreck or some unfortunate situation happens to Sean Hamilton, and he'll find himself outside of the top 20 at the end of the day. He's a driver who I think, more than anything, even not just for points, just for his mojo, needs to have a solid finish tonight in this race. But Super Speedway Racing, without a faster pair, as is always the case in the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series, is going to make this so difficult for him.
Oh, very difficult indeed right now, as we have just about a minute left in this qualifying session. We'll see if anybody takes the track right now with less than a minute left. If not, it would be Adam Newbert taking the pole position, Tyler. That Ford machine, I don't think we've seen him start from the pole. We know what he can do in traffic. Let's see if that pole position can give him any advantage here tonight.
Yeah, I'm surprised Steve Barnett did not take a qualifying lap. He needs stage points. I expected him to try to be up inside the top 5 qualifying and trying to race for some spots, but he opted not to do so. Brady Luff looks to be rolling out on track. I don't think he's have enough time to get a qualifying lap in, but he is right now, I believe, rolling through 3 and 4 up to speed. He may get 1 lap in, but it won't be necessarily the fastest lap, as we saw every single driver have a faster second lap. So we'll see if he is going full speed here. But, well, I think we also have to talk about, a lot of the silly season kind of rumors and things that have happened in the past week. A lot of moving pieces here in the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series, including the formation of a couple of new teams and a lot of drivers and moving pieces. And that's headlined, as Jason Morales said on the broadcast last week, he's bringing over Raul Meza, Chris Blanchard from Warrior Racing Esports, Hunter Parsons, who's racing tonight. He's currently qualified 3rd. Oh, and Steve Barnett, a playoff driver, and he was leaving Hunter Performance Motorsports, is going to Highline Racing, owned by Jason Morales. So that's a big change here in the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series looking forward.
Oh, yeah, huge change indeed. And I think this past season, looking back, you saw the speed out of some of these drivers here. You saw on these different tracks where there was a short track, a super speedway, the Pocono as well in this run. You saw exactly what these drivers can do. Excited to see what they're going to do next season. But Tyler, we have our official starting grid here tonight for the NRE Power Systems 200.
Yeah, the NRE Power Systems 200. Adam Newbert, the man on a mission tonight. You will have to keep an eye out for him, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to lead the field to green. Meanwhile, Chris Blanchard, a fellow playoff driver, he'll start outside him in row number 2. Row number 3 made up by a non-points driver in Hunter Parsons, and your Daytona winner in Robbie Richards, also trying to get a win and get in. Row number 3 has Tim Hammond trying to reverse his bad luck finishes from the last several weeks. And Jason Morales in that number 5, who's leaving to start that brand new Highline Racing team I was just talking about. Row number 4 has Brian Chu from Stick With It Motorsports and Ron Hunter from Hunter Performance Motorsports. By the way, Hunter Performance Motorsports is going to be bringing over Brandon Broadfoot, Joey Doucette, and new driver Chris Kynes for next season, so keep an eye out on them. And we're finishing off row number 5 here with Nathan Maurer, your regular season champion with Brute Force Motorsports, owned by Robbie Richards, and his outside Warrior Racing Esports owner Cody Knott. He's going to be replacing Meza and Blanchard with Jose Luis Rivera from the Triple M Pulling Truck Series, Jose Castellanos, and Jesse Schrag, both of whom are new drivers, and Brandon Bullock will also be on that team next year, Will.
Man, Tyler with the insider information has an ear on the ground in the garage for you folks at the NASCAR 360 Racing Network. But rolling off 11th here tonight is Brent Broadfoot in that 24 machine. 12th is the 37 of Raul Meza. 13th is the 93 Jason Stevenson. 14th is the 18 Justin Lumpkin. 15th is the 95 of Tyler Daniels. 16th is the 89 of Sean Hamilton. You spoke about his runs here lately. Needs to get it going. Needs to finish here tonight at Atlanta. 17th is last week's winner, Carey Trabue, in that 7. 18th is the number 2, Justin White. 19th is the 99, Charles Keller Jr. And rounding out our top 20 is Brady LaBeouf in that 9 machine.
Yeah, rolling up 21st, 86, Kyle Hess for Mission 1 Esports. 22nd is Donnie Lyons, just missing on the playoffs. He's looking to have a solid finish tonight. Very competitive driver, finished second in the All-Star race. Keep an eye on him on these super speedways. Meanwhile, 23rd will be Brandon Bullock, who I said was moving over to Warrior Racing Esports. And then Dan Hagan will be 24th. Steve Barnett, Curtis Rogers will round out your field. Also important to note, Stick With It Motorsports from Adam Newbert and Justin Lumpkin. They'll be adding Derek Kilgore from the Friday Night Series and Adam Newton for next season. And also on top of that, Carey Trabue, last week's race winner, he's going to go to Brute Force Motorsports with Justin White next season. So a lot of moving pieces right now happening as we still look to form our grid for the 2023 Season 2. But tonight we have the NRE Power Systems Truck Series, the Sweet 16 race number 2. Adam Newbert will lead your field of green here as they have the 1 to go symbol. We'll be going green flag racing as they come off at 3 and 4. Adam Newbert from Stick With It Motorsports will lead the field. Like we said, Chris Blanchard there to his outside, followed by Hunter Parsons, Robbie Richards, Tim Hammond, and Jason Morales in that 5 hot rod. New look on Jason Morales' number 5 tonight, Will. He's got a beautiful photo of his wife on the deck lid. That's because it is his wedding anniversary. Again, happy anniversary to Denise and Jason Morales. As we're getting ready to go green here, Adam Newbert gets on the gas first, and we're off racing in the NRE Power Systems 200 here from Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Yeah, right now as Adam Newbert takes us off corner number 2, that 4 machine already looking strong early here down the back stretch. Already has some pressure on the inside lane. You see that 2x2 racing already starting to form up. Already a big move, right? As Blanchard now goes to the inside, and Newbert, Blanchard, our race leader, off at corner number 4.
Yeah, not really sure what Adam Newbert was planning to do there. He's going to go up high, was with Morales. Now he gets back in line on the inside. He'll be 3rd in line. Meanwhile, Jason Morales with Tim Hammond and Ron Hunter will lead the outside lane, but that outside lane is very fractured right now. They need to get it together if they want to move on that inside lane. Very tame start to this race so far. They see Robbie Richards there pulling out of line. I think he's going to go for an attempt to win this race versus racing for points here tonight. That's going to really fracture up that inside line, but now you're going to pretty much single file throughout the field. Can Morales get down and join that inside lane? He will. He's going to leave Hammond up there for the time being, but no, Jason Stevenson looking to the inside of Hammond. That'll be for positions 7th and 8th.
Yeah, already big moves early right now. Tim Hammond, the 69 machine on the top side lane, has to finish strong here tonight to move on to the next round. That is, you have Auto Club next week. Tyler, things don't get any easier right now. We're going to ride on board with Jason Morales in that 5 machine. You get that first-hand point of view what this driver sees here tonight in the NRE Power Systems 200 here on the Nazareth 360 Racing and Network. And Tyler, you see exactly what these drivers have to do in the corner. Is it an inside lane or a top side lane style track?
You're really going to burn up those tires there on the inside with the new Atlanta Motor Speedway, really a super speedway with how fast you're carrying these trucks through these corners. You're going to wear out that right front, really the right rear very quickly. These trucks are going to start slipping and sliding here soon. This race was started at noon, or the session was started at noon. That means for in-sim time, it's just about 145. Track temps 118 degrees. G drivers get loose for 3 wide in the corner. Almost trouble there. They keep it straight for the time being. That looked to be Tyler Daniels. No, that's not Tyler Daniels. That's Raul Meza losing many, many spots. The pack breaking up here. I was just about to say, this track is going to be hot and slick, and we just saw exactly why that's the case. These drivers are going to have their hands full tonight.
Yeah, as you're cruising around 3 and 4 right now, we'll get that scoring up for you in just a moment. But Tyler, early on in this race, I'm starting to see some drivers that are pulling out of line and begin uncomfortable from that draft. You know, what would cause a driver to feel that way?
It's just a lot of air is moving around. These trucks are going to get really tight really fast when they lose the air on the nose, and then they're going to get really light in the rear if someone's right behind them coming off a corner exit. It's going to make these drivers really loose, really get super squirrely, slide up towards the wall on exit, and these drivers are not going to be able to stick in line like you would see at Daytona and Talladega. These are going to be runs and then kind of getting back single file or spacing out a little bit, and then a big run and then spacing out again because you just cannot sustain that tight pack like you would elsewhere.
No, right now things are sustaining down the backstretch, and again, we want to remind everybody watching along with us here in the NASCAR 360 Racing Network, the drivers on the top of your screen that you see highlighted in yellow are playoff drivers. You see that green of Carey Trabue right now in that 7 machine coming across your screen. He is locked in to round number 2 from that win last week here tonight, Tyler, but we are airtight at the top of the grid down the corner.
Yeah, the outside lane finally finding that speed that has been avoiding them for the beginning portion of this race. We're already on lap number 8. Jason Morales finally working to the outside of Hunter Parsons and maybe even Chris Blanchard. I think you're going to see that outside lane maybe dominate later in the run. It's going to be harder to hold the bottom. Outside lane, less steering input, less wear on that tire. Maybe a little bit less discomfort, more banking. So definitely something to keep an eye on here later in the run as we are on lap number 9 of 140.
Yeah, Tyler, what I'm noticing right now is Blanchard's still holding down that inside lane. This is exactly what you touched on, Tyler. This has turned Atlanta into a super speedway style racetrack. And I think for these drivers here tonight, we're going to run 30 laps in stage 1. We're going to run it down to 70 in stage 2 and then 140 to end tonight's race. I think right now, early on as a driver, you just want to find your spot, get comfortable, battling for positions.
Hard hitting the wall
on the front stretch.
That was Ron Hunter hit the wall very hard on the outside. He is going to drop through the field. That's an unfortunate start to Ron Hunter's night here. He's going to drop all the way to 26. Significant damage to the right side of that truck. Hopefully he'll be able to make it back around the pit road under his own power. But we have a big battle up at the front of the field. Morales finally pulled level with Hunter Parsons through the corners. He's going to get a good run down here on the front straightaway, see if he can pull alongside Chris Blanchard, who has led essentially every lap tonight. Adam Newbert, your pole sitter, didn't even lead lap 1.
No, I know. That goes exactly what I was saying there, Tyler. You want to get comfortable in tonight's race? Well, Chris Blanchard is comfortable at the top of the grid right now, leading that inside lane down the backstretch into 3 here, 11 laps in early on.
Brandon Broadfoot pulling out of line, unsure if that's because he got really loose or hit the wall, but right now the battle for the lead is brewing finally. Morales finally get to the outside of Chris Blanchard. Will he lead a lap this time? Yes, he will. Make it about half of a bumper there. Jason Morales, new race leader here this time by.
Yeah, Morales on the top side lane, getting a good push from Tim Hamlin, that 69 machine. Pretty good drive so far here tonight. Just needs to stay exactly where he is on the top side lane, pushing Morales along as we're 2 by 2 around 3 and 4.
Yeah, you're starting to see the 15 to Hunter Parsons be coming off the bottom more and more each lap. He's starting to lose handling in that truck, and that's going to happen more so as this run continues. Lap will be led by Morales still by just a little bit that time. Looking back at the battle for the lead, though, it's still Morales, Blanchard side by side. And I got to say, I was surprised Blanchard decided to stick with the bottom. I know it's the shortest way around, and I know it's the fastest way around, but as we go later and later into this run, he's really going to have a hard time handling that truck.
Yeah, Tyler, as we watch the pack dig down into 3 and 4, do you think right now the drivers could be experimenting with the lines, trying out right now maybe the low side lane to see what kind of wear it puts on the tires, or maybe in stage 2 try the top side lane, see what kind of stress it puts on the tires? Because you got to remember, in tonight's race, we're going to run 70 laps, so you're looking at least 30 plus what you've been running in these stages. Do you think right now these drivers are just trying to test out to see what works?
Well, we do have 5 sets of tires tonight, Will, to work with, 4 after the set they started with, so 4 additional sets. And fuel window's about 53 to 57. I think you'll see these drivers split that final stage right in half, be able to use as much of those tires as they want early on in that third and final stage. Because I think things are going to get separated when it comes to pit stops here if we have green flag stops in stage number 3.
Yeah, I'm thinking we're probably going to have green flag pit stops there in stage number 3 with those 70 laps. We'll have to see right? Who heads on pit road at the end of stage number 1? Because Tyler, that would give us a good indication of if that pit window is around 40 laps. And you're looking at around 25 to 30 laps shootout at the end of tonight's race. But still a long way to go right now, Tyler. It's still Chris Blanchard leading the way here on lap 16.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. We've essentially had two packs kind of form here. We have this lead pack of about, let's say, 11 trucks. We have a little bit back to Steve Barnett, who's kind of a man on the island trying to bridge it. And you see back there, you have a pack of about 6 or 7 trucks in a line. You see Steve Barnett trying to bridge that gap in that 42 machine, get up there with this top 11, 12 drivers, because he needs stage points. Coming into it, he's 30 points back from the cut. He cannot win to advance because he missed last week at Richmond. Same with Adam Newberg. They both need stage points. So Steve Barnett, who started outside in 25th position, way in the back, didn't run the qualifying lap. He's slowly starting to move forward as you see another truck fall off. That's Tyler Daniels falling to the bottom.
Yeah, and one thing that stands out to me as we saw Ron Hunter in that 30 make contact with that topside wall. No cautions yet here tonight. Tyler, as we're creeping up to 10 to go here in stage number 1. Top of the grid, though, we're seeing little bubbles being brewed at the top here. A little boba tea being made at the top of the grid as these drivers are feeling each other out.
Yeah, it's about 5 trucks apiece, top and bottom lane. Steve Barnett and Brady LaBeouf trying to close the gap here to the top 10, trying to catch on to this main pack. They do have a width of the draft because of these tight corners. It's really hard for them to make up any ground. Barnett, though, finally within half a second of that last truck, or just teetering about half a second back of that last truck, really wants to make a gap. You see a big lead out there for Chris Blanchard. Really got separated from Hunter Parsons. You see that's a massive gap between the two. Hunter Parsons is going to get a big run here on the 14 truck.
Yeah, that 15 right there has been running strong here tonight inside the top 3. Solid on that inside lane. You see if he can get a run brewed up right now, and nothing really being built up right now. Really on the back bumper of Blanchard there, Tyler, but really not trying to make him run. Do you think it's just too early to try to make, passes for position, or do you think it's just not the right opportunity?
I just think it's really hard here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. You have to time your runs perfectly to essentially clear a driver, because while we're locked in this 2x2, it's impossible to make a pass. They really need to back off the driver ahead of them, find a space outside, get a big run entering the straightaway, clear them before they enter the corner, and that's how they'll be able to make a pass tonight. But you see everyone's abandoning Morales on the inside lane, but except for Adam Newberg, he's going to jump up to the outside lane. He's tired of running in line, where I see some things shake up here at the front of the pack. Him and Josh to the bottom. Raul Meza's around here in the middle of the 4.
Raul Meza sideways on 3 and 4 right there. 37 machine. We talked about it coming into tonight's race. The bad luck that follows that 37 machine around. And here it comes once again, Tyler, early here tonight. And no damage on the 37, but officially brings out our first caution of the night.
I don't think he hit anything or anyone, and no one else spun. Props to every single driver there in the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series for avoiding what could have been a catastrophic accident here early on in the NRE Power Systems 200. You know who this really benefits? Playoff driver Brandon Broadfoot. He had lost the draft entirely, Will. That's cautions allowed him to maybe fix some damage. I think he was well off the pace because of a little bit of damage and catch back up to the field. But here you see Raul Meza. Hammond gets a little bit to his outside, takes the air off the rear spoiler, didn't really make contact with him, and just kind of loses it. Great move by Sean Hamilton here to avoid contact. I mean, can we get an onboard shot of Sean Hamilton, please? That was impressive.
Yeah, and I got to see right there with the 69 machine of Tim Hammond. See if there was contact maybe with the 37, or if the 37 just got loose there. Here we're going to ride on board with possibly
Stevenson, I think, yeah.
Yeah, with Hamilton in that 89, who was right behind it, and you see if there was any contact made. No, it actually looks to me, Tyler, the 37 may have just gotten loose on the apex.
Yeah, I think it's an aero thing. It's just air came off the spoiler. Wow. I don't know if there was any contact made there between Hamilton and Meza. Maybe a little bit, but definitely not enough to cause any damage, in my opinion. I'll have to get maybe this would be the best view in the house right here. We should really see how this works here, Will, on that front bumper cam. This will be a great shot.
Ooh, watch it right here. Oh, my God. Oh, just the slightest. Just a little bit of a haircut right there of contact between the 37 and the 89, Sean Hamilton. But, Tyler, I don't think it's any damage it's going to cause any kind of, problems to the 89. I think the 89 is going to be good to go there.
I've been looking at the 89 machine's front end and have absolutely no damage on that truck. Maybe I saw a small dent in the 37's rear, but not enough to make a difference. Interesting enough, though, no drivers have come in for pit stops here. We'll have just under, I believe, 7 or 6 laps to go in the stage when we go green.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see exactly how this all plays out because no one came in for stops, and that is quite concerning because these trucks are going to really spin the tires and be super loose here on this restart. Correction. One driver made a pit stop. 2 drivers made a pit stop. That's Chris Blanchard and Brandon Buffett. So your leader, Chris Blanchard, came in pit, and he's a playoff driver, and he's going to go from 1st to 25th, Will, and not get stage points.
Tyler, you know why he's a playoff driver, though? It's because of his unique and interesting pit strategies that have got him in positions at the end of these races that have built up enough points to give Chris Blanchard a shot at it. Again, here tonight, you see it. Going to be pitting very, very early, but watch here when the caution flag flies at the end of the stage. See if Chris heads down pit road or if he stays out.
Yeah, it seems like a huge risk to me. I mean, I know he's not going to pit till the end of stage 2 then with his strategy, but 8 laps of wear on his tires, 7 laps of wear on those tires. Well, everyone's going to have fresh tires. He'll be the only driver other than Broadfoot on that strategy. It just seems really risky. Even Raul Meza, who spun out, did not get tires or come down pit road that time by.
We'll have to see right now here as we're still under caution around 3 and 4. It looks like the caution lights are off here. Tyler's going to go green flag racing here momentarily.
Yeah, your new leader, Hunter Parsons, will have Adam Newbert to his outside, Jason Morales, Tim Hammond make up row number 2, and Brian Chu and Sean Hamilton make up row number 3. Hunter Parsons, your control truck, waiting to get to the Geico restart zone. He gets there. He gets on the gas. He's going to have a great jump. A little bit of wheel spin from a bunch of the trucks. It's going to be really spaced out here as we enter 1 and 2. Morales to the inside of Adam Newbert here for the 2nd position.
Yeah, what a big move from Parsons right there in that 15 machine. Able to block both lanes there from that rocket restart he had. Now coming off of 2 Parsons on the top side lane, down the backstretch.
Block the outside. That's going to allow Tim Hammond and Jason Morales to hook back up this time on the inside lane. That may have been a big mistake. Parsons tried to block both lanes. That's going to allow Morales to his inside. They're going to be side by side through 3 and 4 as we have 7 laps to go in stage number 1.
Still airtight for the top 4 positions right now. Off of 4 here, 24 laps into this race. Racing it down to the end of stage number 1, which will be lap 30. Right now, as our race leader, Parsons, takes us down to corner number 1.
Parsons now gets a little bit clear of Morales. Morales side by side with Adam Newbert here as they come off of 1 and 2. They're going to race side by side down the back straightaway. Hunter Parsons, your clear race leader. Adam Newbert trying to fight for 2nd now.
Now, as you see the inside lane trying to find that speed once again, a little bit more cohesion from the top side lane right now, a little bit more stuck together. That's what you like to see in those draft pods, so to say, right now, as Parsons takes us across the start-finish line. We have just about 4 laps to go in stage number 1.
Important drivers to keep your eye on. Adam Newbert, Steve Barnett. Those 2 drivers need points here in this stage. They won't have a chance of moving on. Especially Steve Barnett, who's currently sitting in position number 12. Adam Newbert, though, right now in the 2nd position to the outside of Jason Morales. They're battling for 2nd. Meanwhile, Parsons pretty comfortably ahead of Jason Morales to his inside. Call it about a full truck length. Nope, now Morales back to the inside.
Yeah, as long as Morales can stick that nose to the inside of Parsons there, Parsons can't block both lanes, but he has to keep that nose to the middle of the 20 or 15. 15 on the track, 20 in your programs. Right now, number 1 on the scoring pylon, but not for long, as Jason Morales has a huge run coming off the corner down the backstretch.
Tim Hammond's been able to stay well in tight on that bottom lane, despite it being much tighter turn radius, a bit harder to keep the truck down there. Morales and Hammond have made that bottom lane work probably just as good as some of the faster trucks. I don't think Morales and Hammond really had the group behind him on the outside lane, but now a big shot from Adam Newbert's going to get Hunter Parsons the lead this time by 3 laps to go here in stage number 1.
3 laps to go, big implications right now. Moving on to the next round, you need every point you can take. If you don't get a win to lock yourself in, you need to rack up as many of those Super Mario stars as you can take in the race. Right now, Hunter Parsons still leading the way with Adam Newbert behind him, though. But that great white mentality that Adam Newbert has here, Tyler, watch out for him here as we close out the stage.
Meanwhile, that's 2 to go this time by in the stage. Pit lane has been closed. Battling on there, Steve Barnett, your other playoff driver, needs stage points. He's still currently 12 behind Stevenson and Rogers. He needs to make some moves if he wants to grab a few stage points here before Stage 1 ends at the end of lap 30. Side by side, though, between Parsons is clear again. Newbert and Morales. Although Morales fights back on the inside.
Yeah, still very airtight up here at the top of the grid. Morales still hoping for that push from Tim Hammond, that 69, who's behind the 5. But you see on that top side lane here in the Nizer 360 Racing Network, the 4 of Adam Newbert has that nose stuck right behind Parsons as we're down into 1 and 2 here, just about 1 lap to go.
Yeah, these drivers now dead even. Finally, the inside line, maybe getting some momentum here. Can Jason Morales steal the Stage 1 win from Hunter Parsons? Tim Hammond and Adam Newbert will have a lot to say about that. They're going to be really tight here through 3 and 4. Parsons is going to try the side draft. Can Tim Hammond get to Morales' back bumper first? Will Newbert get to Parsons' back bumper first? They're side by side. And at the line, Parsons will win stage number 1. I think Steve Barnett got some stage points, Will. We may have a competitive battle here for these point spots.
Yeah, that's exactly what comes about here in the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series. As Hunter Parsons there with a great drive. You saw that move that he was able to have on that restart. He was able to block both lanes. I think that was the money move of stage number 1. They got Hunter Parsons those stage points. Non-points, non-championship driver, Tyler. Have to mention that. But a great run here tonight.
Yeah, Hunter Parsons will steal stage number 1. Steve Barnett finish. We'll go through the stage points real quick before we go to a commercial break. Jason Morales will finish 2nd. Adam Newbert 3rd. Tim Hammond 4th. Good points for him there. Sean Hamilton, another good points spot right there in 5th. Brian Chu, playoff driver, finishes 6th. Carey Trabue locked in, finishes 7th. Brady LaBeouf, 8th. Steve Barnett, 9th. And Donnie Lyons, 10th. So other than being bookended by non-points drivers, the rest of the top 10 all getting stage points here.
Yeah, great stage run for a lot of these drivers right here in the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series. And now as we watch the leaders head down pit road, Parsons, Morales, Newbert, Hammond, everybody down pit road right now. And we called it right now, Tyler. It looks to be that pit window is around 35 laps or so, 33 laps if I had to guess, if you had to push it here.
Actually, it's a lot more, Will. We're looking at 53 to 57 laps on a full tank.
Oh, okay. All right.
We'll see who gets off pit road first. It looks like some different strategies taking place, but winning a race off pit road, Hunter Parsons. Tim Hammond's going to lose a lot of spots on pit road. He's going to fall all the way to 9th there, so he's going to lose a lot. Chris Blanchard will psych out as your leader because, as we talked about, Chris Blanchard stayed out after pitting at the caution on lap number 20.
He sure did. As we watch Chris Blanchard, the lone truck on the backstretch, will step aside for our first break of the evening here in the Nazareth 360 Racing Network. We'll be right back for the drop of the green flag here in stage number 2 from Atlanta Motor Speedway.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen, here for Stage 2 in the NRE Power Systems 200. Right now, Chris Blanchard, your race leader, takes the outside here on this restart. Lane number 1 to his inside, your Stage 1 winner, Hunter Parsons. Row number 2, Adam Newbert, Jason Morales. Row number 3, last week's winner, Carey Trabue, and Brian Chu to his inside. And then row number 4, Tim Hammond, Brady LaBeouf. And row number 5, Kyle Hess and Steve Barnett, as these drivers get ready for Stage number 2 here in the NRE Power Systems 200. Chris Blanchard waiting to get in the Geico restart zone. He hits the gas, and we are off here in stage number 2, going to lap number 70. Longest green flag run of the night if we go green throughout. Almost a mirror image of stage 1 green flag, Will, here. We're getting single file right away. Then you'll see drivers go 2 by 2 as Jason Morales first one to jump to the outside. Brady LaBeouf and Carey Trabue looking to maybe go with him. Tim Hammond also maybe trying to make up some ground on the outside. It'll take a little bit for them to get all hooked up, but once they do, they should be able to make some moves.
Yeah, Tyler, and as I like to stay quiet there off of 2 just to watch things happen, things are just getting a little bit too dicey for us to stay quiet on the broadcast. Drivers getting a little squirrely, a little loose at the tail end of this pack. Already starting to see this pack basically dissolve here, and if they don't link up, Tyler, we've seen what can happen if you don't find friends already. Man, that is sketchy right there off of 2.
Yeah, decisive move by Brian Chu going from the bottom to the top behind Adam Newbert. And look who's just slotted into the 3rd place position on that inside line, that 42 machine, Steve Barnett. You know, he has a win at a super speedway in the All-Star race in Talladega Super Speedway, so definitely a driver to keep an eye out tonight, Will.
Yeah, we have to watch that 42 right there by Tyler. We've seen this movie before. We've seen the 42 run strong inside the top 10, top 5. We've seen him peak out sometimes as well. But the trick is, Tyler, the 42 has to stay clean, has to stay consistent throughout tonight's race, and maybe, just maybe, we'll have a shot at the end of this race.
Yeah, especially with the points deficit he finds himself in. He needs every point he can get. He cannot afford to get involved in a wreck tonight. Same with Adam Newbert here, leading that outside lane. Brian Chu behind him cannot afford to get involved in a wreck tonight, being that he came into this race 22 points out of the cut line. Steve Barnett was 30 points out of the cut line. Both of those drivers need to have a strong finish tonight.
Yeah, and you're already starting to see what we saw there in stage number 1. These drivers here found their partners, found their lanes. Ooh, right there. Big move to the outside of Tim Hammond. That's Carey Trabue, last week's winner in that 7 machine. Now trying to get up to the top of the grid. Trying to pick up where he left off last week there, Tyler.
Stick with it, Motorsports teammates, each leading a lane. That's Brian Chu on the outside and Adam Newbert on the inside. Their other teammate, I believe, is Justin Lumpkin. He's all the way back in the 14th position, so not having the night he's wanted so far. But maybe he's playing the long race, just kind of biding his time. He's not in it for points. He's just in it for wins. So you may not see much of Justin Lumpkin until the very end of this race, Will.
Yeah, and I think that's a smart move because I think here tonight's finish is going to be around 70 laps. So quite a marathon to close out tonight's race at Atlanta. I think there's going to be a green flag pit stop in the mix as well. So really, I like to call these stages our homework, our study sessions, if you will. That way you go into that last run with all sorts of data, all sorts of things you can apply to that victory you get at the end of this race.
New race leader, that is Jason Morales, made a nice little move on Brian Chu to go to the inside. Now he'll lead the inside lane. Adam Newbert gets to his bumper. Morales leaving his boss, though, Michelin Esports teammate Brady LaBeouf, just like he'll be leaving him for next season to create his own team of Highline Racing. He jumps back to the outside. Morales trying to be like a Pied Piper at super speedways, controlling both lanes, but Adam Newbert, a Toyota from Stick with the Motorsports, going to power through on the inside.
Yeah, I just think that's the issue. If you climb up top there and you hold it down, if you're not as cohesive, you don't have as many trucks in that line. We're watching it right now. Adam Newbert, now our race leader, across that line. A lot more trucks on the low side, a lot closer together on the top side. You see Morales go way high on the racetrack there. Now that low side lane starting to pull away down the backstretch.
Yeah, that outside lane's kind of struggling early on here. I think it'll come to them later in the run like we saw last time. We didn't really see that outside lane pick up speed until about 20-30 laps in on that tire run. But right now that inside lane is Adam Newbert, Chris Blanchard, Hunter Parsons, Steve Barnett, Tim Hammond, the 5 trucks on the inside. Oh, look, Justin Lumpkin now joining the top 10 part. He's sitting 6th on the inside lane, right now 9th overall.
Yeah, right now as we're around 1 and 2. We're going to step aside and give you the sights and sound of Atlanta Motor Speedway here on the NASRA 360 Racing Network, a lap 43, a stage number 2, playoff race number 2, round number 1.
Oh, trouble. Chris Blanchard going sideways. He's going to get pushed out of line. We almost had a big one here in Atlanta.
Yeah, and that's a way to break that silence there, Tyler, with some big money action on the racetrack here at Atlanta. Chris Blanchard, who was running on top of the grid in that 14 machine, was running very strong. You know, that's what Chris needs to do in that 14. Now at the tail end of this pack, we'll see if he occurred any damage there. That truck does not seem to be running right, Tyler.
Yeah, I'm surprised it lost as much speed as he did. I was wondering if maybe he had a misshift or something that caused that issue. He did not come down pit road, though, so maybe he just lost more speed than we thought he did. Should be getting back up to speed now. He's coming around through 1 and 2. Hopefully Chris Blanchard is good enough. Oh, nope, something happened, and that something unplugged on his button box, shutting off his ignition. There's contact between Trabue and Adam Newbert there on the front straightaway.
Yeah, you're already starting to see Carey Trabue at the top of the grid in that 7 machine. Adam Newbert on that top side as well. In this battle you saw last week, Carey Trabue got that victory, snagged that next round playoff spot. So you would figure, Tyler, the stress is off, the weight is off the 7 machine's shoulders. Not here tonight, bringing out that good wrench paint scheme. He means business here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Currently with a strong run across the line, make it 50 in the lap 1.
And look at the playoff driver right now leading the pack. That's Brian Chu, a name we don't talk about very often. He's just had a subtly solid season. Kind of like Carey Trabue before last week. Hadn't won a race yet, but just always been around, always a top 10 driver, great finishes, not ever getting the win, but always just being around. Well, now Brian Chu's leading here in the playoffs in the NRE Power Systems 200. Almost contact between Steve Barnett and Brady LaBeouf. Barnett's really losing the handling on that truck there on that bottom lane.
Yeah, Brian Chu off for our race leader. That 51 machine with a bit of heartbreak not making the playoffs in the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series. That's not stopping that Toyota, though. Brian Chu, our race leader, off at 2, but right now, Tyler, you're starting to see the field get a little dicey here in the middle there, off the backstretch into 3.
Yeah, and the thing we need to keep our eye on is that of Chris Blanchard. He is 20 seconds behind the car, or 20 seconds behind the leaders. Do the leaders catch him before the end of stage 2? I'm going to say yes, but how much of an issue will that cause? It's a very narrow racetrack in the corners. They really can't go 3 wide, especially late in tire run like they are right now. You're already seeing these trucks slip and slide and slip and slide, and they're really having a hard time keeping it controlled.
Yeah, very dicey right here in stage number 2 into corner 3. Brian Chu, our race leader, Adam Newbert on the top side. In the 4 has Jason Morales in the 5. Very strong here tonight, but Carey Trabue up 15 spots, 14 spots now down into 3rd. This is a drop of the green flag. Carey Trabue, last week's winner, Tyler. Probably winner, but
oh, Brian Chu sideways.
Contact me between Brian Chu and Carey Trabue. Oh no!
Caution flag is out. Big wreck here in Atlanta.
Oh no! contact made between Carey Trabue and Brian Chu in that 51 machine. I know it probably sounds the same the way it comes out there, Tyler, but they are not the same. Carey Trabue was in second. Brian Chu was in first. Disaster at the top of the grid.
Yeah, we'll have to watch a full replay here as you're going to see Brian Chu. Does he get bumped or does he just lose it on entry, kind of like Blanchard did? Although Blanchard had his ignition switch cut out, so we'll have to see as these drivers are. I would say you're going to see drivers come in for tires. Oh, nope, maybe a little bit of contact there. Takes Chu around. Field scatters. Ooh. Looks like Tyler Daniels runs straight into the back of Brian Chu. Brandon Broadfoot has some damage. Kyle Hess has some damage. I saw that. Tyler Daniels damage. Charles Keller Jr.'s damage. I saw Tim Hammond spinning. Not really sure what that was, but he is no longer inside the top 10. If we get a ride along with Tim Hammond, maybe we can see what happened to him.
And for all you Brian Chu fans out there, that Monster Energy machine did take a hard impact to the back of that truck from Tyler Daniels. See the 69 here. Is he getting contact there, Tyler? Or do you think he just gets a little loose there on the apron?
He gets loose. He's straddling that line, and it looks like he kept it off the wall, which is the good thing. But he definitely tore up those tires, and he's coming down pit road along with a bunch of others drivers. But it's the field has been shaken up, and not everyone is pitted. The top 10 stayed out. So Adam Newberg, Carey Trabue, Jason Morales, Hunter Parsons, Justin Lumpkin, Steve Barnett, Sean Hamilton, Jason Stevenson. Wow, close. You see Kyle Hess hits the wall. Raul Meza into the back of Kyle Hess. Brandon Broadfoot, I think, also slaps the wall. Oh, no. Broadfoot and Hammond collide, so Hammond does have damage. That is a great angle from our producer, Adam Flieger, getting that shot for us. I don't think the 24 hit anything else after that. Same with the 69, but there was contact between those two. So just going to see how this is going to shake out. Drivers are going to be running low on tires here at this rate.
And boy, I think, Tyler, I think we just got to stop talking about Tim Hammond and that 69 machine. We're putting the commentator's curse on him every race. With a top 10 driver here tonight was solid up there in the pack racing using that draft. Finds himself drifting down the grid a little bit, gets entangled with some of these trucks that already have damage, running really slow on the racetrack. And now the 69 has damage on it himself. We'll see what kind of speed's left inside that truck here.
Yeah, as we're waiting, Carey Trabue is going to get an EOL for causing that incident, sending Brian Chu around. Good thing for Carey Trabue is, well, he's already locked into the next round, so not really much detriment to him tonight. As it seems, the only driver still on pit road fixing damage is Charles Keller Jr. Tyler Daniels is now 2 laps down. Tim Hammond was able to get some of his damage repaired. He's off pit road. Raul Meza's off pit road. Brady LaBeouf came back down for service. I'm wondering if he's getting more fuel. It looks like he is. Interested to see how that works out. Raul Meza's coming back down, I think, for additional service, and we may see Tim Hammond do the same here, Will.
Yeah, 69 machine. He can't afford it here tonight, to say the least, Tyler. He had a strong run at Atlanta, going into essentially what's going to be an elimination race for a lot of these drivers at Auto Club. Tim Hammond in the 69 needs to find a way to maybe scrap out a top 15 if he can early in this race here in stage number 2. If not, Tyler, I start to see those playoff going into the next round for Tim Hammond at 69 start to drift away just ever so slightly.
The one advantage he has is he started at Richmond. He raced Richmond. He raced here tonight. Racing at Fontana, he could win his way in. That same liberty is not afforded to Adam Newberg and Steve Barnett. They missed a race. Therefore, winning and advancing does not exist for those two drivers, like I mentioned tonight. But Tim Hammond could go to Fontana next week, win that race, and he'll be moved on to the Fast 12. Now, is that going to be a very tall order for that 69 machine? Of course it is. But can he get the job done? We've seen the speed from him. I think it's possible. Meanwhile, Adam Newberg, Jason Morales is going to lead the field of green here as we're going to have, just about 15 laps to go here in stage number 2. Sick with it. Motorsports teammates to the outside. Justin Lumpkin's now in the second position as he's going to go with Adam Newberg here this time.
As we come off corner number 2 right now, has an 86 machine at top side lane, not treating him well, as now he's losing speed. But Newberg will take us down to corner number 4 with a big block on the low side lane. It blocked the 5 right there on the apex of 3 and 4. Adam Luber in the 4 will take us off of 4 as our race leader.
Yeah, you're going to see Stick with the Motorsports teammates on that outside and inside lane, controlling those 2 lanes. Lumpkin's not going to really put his teammate in a bad spot, knowing that his teammate's fighting for a championship. Meanwhile, the rest of these drivers up here in the top 10, drivers not in the points conversation. Justin Lumpkin, Hunter Parsons, I believe Jason Stevenson's not in it either. Brian Chu already got back to 9th after getting spun in with some contact, so he's going to hopefully get some stage points out of this. Bray LaBeouf opted for some tires and fuel. He's all the way back in 17th, along with Justin White, Nathan Maurer outside the top 15. Chris Blanchard and Cody Knott are back there as well. Raul Meza, though, still on pit road getting damage repair. He has significant problems. Kyle has significant engine damage. He is well off the pace, along with, I think, Chris Blanchard. They have some issues. So those 3 drivers right now are just kind of by themselves. We see the race up front between Adam Newbert and Jason Morales rage on.
Yeah, very tight here at the top of the grid. Airtight, zip-log, baggy tight up here at the top of this grid. All the way to about the 5th position, just 2x2. Give and take racing up here as Jason Morales, Adam Newbert side by side across the line. Another lap in the books. As these drivers have been solid inside the top 5, you see newcomers and the likes of Justin Lumpkin in the 18. You'll also see right there Parsons is back up there as well. You know, you have Lumpkin, Barnett, 42, Hamilton, the 89, Brandon Bullock in the 17s up there now as well. So some new names here late in stage number 2.
Yeah, Brandon Bullock, although not in the playoffs, he's competing for that 17th points position payout as well. We do pay out our best non-playoff driver here, SimRacerHub.com Truck Series, so still some prizes available. That's why that 17 is running as well as he is. He's trying to get some points and really build on that 17th place lead. Meanwhile, though, those front 6 trucks pretty much still in lockstep 2x2x2. That's Newbert, Morales, Parsons, Lumpkin, Hamilton, and Barnett. And oh, big wiggle there from Lumpkin in the middle of the corner.
Yeah, as we're starting to see these trucks just wiggle ever so slightly here in the draft. Tyler, you know, we're starting to creep up towards these danger windows. What I mean by that here, Tyler, when do you think these tires are going to start to go from underneath these trucks?
Well, you're already seeing it happen with all the drivers who stayed out. So everyone in the top 10 except for Brian Chu, Brady LaBeouf, and Tim Hammond is just on the outside of the top 10, so 10 through 12. Those drivers all got tires on lap 53, 54. Meanwhile, the rest of the top 10, they had last come in for tires on lap 32. They're really feeling it. You're seeing these trucks start to slide more and more, especially on exit and entry of these corners. And these bumps are really going to upset these trucks as the run continues, as we have just 9 laps to go here in stage number 2.
9 laps to go here in stage 2. Very airtight here in this pack. No separation into tonight's race. Tyler, we haven't seen anybody get to the top of the grid in that clean air and separate. This is what Atlanta Motor Speedway breeds now. Instead of a Charlotte Motor Speedway Las Vegas style race, and they get a Talladega, you get a Daytona where it's airtight. It's competitive here at the top of the grid as Adam Newbert and Jason Morales side by side off of 2.
Another playoff driver, Kyle Hess, with that injured truck, has come down pit road to fix that truck the best of his ability, so he will go multiple laps down. Raul Meza back on the racing surface, but he is still 6 laps down.
Yeah, and that's a shame for that 37 machine. We talked about just the string of bad luck over and over and over and over again. And I think there's an R&B song that goes something like that there, Tyler. But for the 37 around Meza, I think if you can just get one day and we can just say it's my turn to win that 37, just hoping for just one day of a good finish here across Nazareth. But right now, one man who stacked up some good finishes a month ago, try to keep it going in March. Adam Newbert on the top side as we come up for 4.
Yeah, and that finish for Kyle Hess is a big deal. He was only 2 points ahead of the cut line coming into the race tonight, so he's going to have to go to Fontana next week and race his absolute heart out if he wants to move on to the fast. So Brian Chu again. Almost trouble though. Brian Chu, does he save it? And looks like he will. We're going to keep going green. 6 laps left in stage number 2.
And it's just, I think Brian Chu may have had just one too many of those Monster Energy drinks here tonight because he is hyped up behind that wheel after racing strong at the top of the grid. This race has just gone sideways. for him as he's trying to find his bearings here in this run in stage number 2. Brian Chu now trying to find some friends, Tyler, as he's riding around this racetrack by himself.
Kyle Hess has officially parked his car for the rest of the evening, so he will most likely finish in the 25th position. So, an unfortunately rough night for Kyle Hess as he is out of this race.
Yeah, that is very unfortunate for the 86 machine. A playoff driver on that grid, and I believe of our first note, that's Raul Meza in the 37 machine, was our first playoff driver to retire here tonight, down the 24th position. But right now we have an absolute slugfest up here at the top of the grid. As Adam Newbert in the 4, Jason Morales in the 5, 4-5 at the top of the grid, down to 3.
Quick correction, Raul Meza actually came back out on track, so he'll pass Kyle Hess here in about 1 lap time. He's right there running. You see him on the back straightaway. He is still 6 laps down, though, so well off the pace. But back to the battle up front, we still see Jason Morales, Adam Newbert side by side. I can't tell who even led that lap. It was so close. Meanwhile, you got Steve Barnett there sitting in the 5th, 6th position. You need some stage points here. And with Kyle Hess and Raul Meza having rough nights, Brian Chu having a rough night, Chris Blanchard having a rough night, Cody not having the night he needed, Tim Hammond's now outside the top 10. Keep an eye on Steve Barnett, maybe being inside the top 12 in points after starting tonight 30 points out of the top 12.
Yeah, I don't mean to put the commentator's curse on him just yet, but you think about the ramifications for Adam Newbert if he doesn't win tonight's race. If he gets the door shut on him here tonight at Atlanta, we watch this battle right now as they're still side by side around 1 and 2. We have just about 2 laps to go here in stage 2. With not a win here tonight, Tyler, that makes Auto Club a must-win situation for Adam Newbert in the 4, who has had an incredible season, just not raced enough to be an automatic qualifier.
I still think Adam Newbert can point his way in. He was 3rd in stage number 1. Oh, big battle here. 3 wide. Steve Barnett into Scott Hamilton. Big wreck. Playoff drivers involved here. And that will end stage number 2. And guess who gets the stage win? Adam Newbert does. And guess who was involved in that wreck? Steve Barnett and Sean Hamilton.
Oh, my
That
goodness.
is huge.
As we watch right now here on the Nazareth 360 Racing Network, we take a look at this replay. And Tyler, it looked to me there's Barnett making contact with Hamilton. There must have been contact there on that low side of the racetrack that just sent that truck absolutely just rocketing into that top side. There's Jason Stevenson in the 93 that's going to have damage as well.
I think Brady LeBuff gave him a bad push, and we're going to see it right here.
Take a look here. And you see the 9 on that right there pushing him along. Oh, what an excellent shot right now. We're watching from this back. Ooh.
Yep, Brady LeBuff got him.
Just wasn't square. Just wasn't square there, Tyler.
Hamilton's truck has expired. That'll be another rough finish for Sean Hamilton, as his season, which started out so promising after a win at Texas, 2nd race of the year, 3rd race of the year, has just seemingly gone downhill since then. Steve Barnett with heavy, heavy damage there in this incident, to the rear of his truck and to the side of his truck. Another playoff driver who that's going to greatly affect. But I still think Steve Barnett got a top 10 finish. And guess who else got a top 10 finish in that stage? Tim Hammond.
Hey, there we go. The 69 machine of Tim Hammond with a top 10 finish in stage number 2. But I think right there, Tyler, we just saw some round 2 hopes being dashed for some of those drivers there. But boy, Tyler, here as we're only just shy of an hour into this race, what an exciting first couple of stages we've had already here at Atlanta.
No, it very much has been extremely entertaining racing so far. And these drivers have put it all on the line. As you see, Brady LeBuff's going to be the first driver off pit road. He went fuel only. He got tires back on lap 54. He's going to have 17 lap older tires in the field behind him. Adam Newbert will be 2nd off pit road. Jason Morales, Hunter Parsons, Justin Lumpkin, Tim Hammond, Dan Hagan, Carey Trabue, Jason Stevenson, and Brandon Broadfoot there. But I think we should take this time to maybe talk to our stage 2 winner, Adam Newbert. If we can get him up here in the booth here real shortly, we'll talk with him and discuss exactly what went down here at the end of stage number 2. We're joined now here in the booth with our stage number 2 winner, Adam Newbert. Adam, wow, that was a chaotic way to end stage number 2. Big wreck involving playoff drivers, but you've had the night you wanted to have tonight, winning a stage and also coming, I believe, 3rd in stage number 1. Was this what you were planning to do all night long, or was this kind of falling into your lap a little bit here?
Well, I know I needed to get stage points. I missed last week, so I come up 22 points out of the cutoff, so I said I got to go out here and be aggressive at this plate race, even though I don't want to. But it's worked out so far.
Does it help you when you have a teammate like Justin Lumpkin behind you, who is essentially almost reminds me a little bit of 2001, watching Michael Waltrip and Dale Jr. work together and control that race? Was that kind of the plan here in stage 2? Once you guys got hooked up to kind of control that outside line and get you the stage win?
Yes, absolutely. Having him back there was huge right there. Even Brian Chu earlier in the stage, that was really, really big. Sorry, there's a lot of confusion on the caution right now. Yeah, I mean, I think that, I kind of lost train of thought there.
Now, you guys, we're about to go green flag racing. We just appreciate you spending a quick moment with us, talking with us. Wish you best luck the rest of the way. Hopefully you can keep that truck clean tonight and have a good finish.
Yeah, we just did a good finish and make up some points here. I think if we get a good top 5, top 10, we'll be back in the green, I think.
I think you will as well, Adam. Best luck rest of the way, and keep the truck clean.
Thank y'all.
That was your stage 2 winner, Adam Newbert, Will, and he said, having that teammate behind him of Justin Lumpkin made a huge difference how he was able to race that stage.
Yeah, and I think we've touched on it here a few times during this broadcast is you need to find those partners. You need to find that lane. You need to find who you're going to work with. Even though Atlanta feels like a Charlotte, sort of looks like a Vegas, it runs like a Dega and a Daytona. We know what you need there. You just touched on it, that Michael Waltrip Dale Jr. combination. You need a little bit of that Shaq Kobe energy here tonight.
Yeah, update on your playoff driver, Steve Barnett, Sean Hamilton, both with significant damage. Both of those trucks are on pit road receiving repairs. I do think Sean Hamilton's race is pretty much over, as well as Steve Barnett. He had significant damage to the right side of that truck, so that makes it 3 playoff drivers who will most likely not finish the race tonight between Steve Barnett, Sean Hamilton, and Kyle Hess. That actually gives some a little bit of breathing room for Raul Meza, who's all the way back in 23rd, but still running on track. He'll make up a few more spots tonight.
Yeah, Raul Meza needs to do it. And a little fun fact about that 37 machine of Raul Meza is still the fastest truck on the racetrack. Fastest lap of a 30.58. 37 machine, if all else fails, will be the fastest truck here tonight.
Yeah, and as we keep watching these drivers work back and forth here, leading the front of the field, and you kind of see the field spread out more and more, and I think it's a long run here in stage number 3 is going to lend itself to this field getting spread out. We go green throughout as well. That's going to really affect things because these drivers will have to make a fuel stop here in stage number 3. Fuel window is about 53 to 57 laps. We're still well outside of that for the time being. And with how the tire fall has been about after 20 to 25 laps, well, I expect these drivers to come in and split the stage exactly in half at lap 105.
Yeah, me as well. And what I like to say, Tyler, is during those green flag pit stops, we like to see waves of pit stops. You're going to see some drivers that like to prefer that early window. You're going to see some drivers, probably the leader's head in that wave number 2. It's the most comfortable window for most drivers. And then you'll see that third wave of those guys who like to push that envelope, stay out as much as they can, log some laps as the leader. They'll head down pit road. So watch as those waves start to come in, if you will, Tyler, here. Which wave pays off the most?
Yeah, and that's going to be the name of the game, is just getting waves of momentum to work with the truck. If I'm one of these drivers, after seeing some of the chaos here at the end of stage 2, I may be just sitting in line and riding for the next 30 some odd laps. No need to destroy the tires, no need to push yourself. As we see the sun peeking out again, that's going to really help this loosen up this track even more. And it's going to make it really difficult for these drivers to have a handle on the truck later on. They're going to really hope that cloud cover comes back into play. I think we should take this time, though, Will, when we talk about these playoff drivers. We also need to talk about the driver who's the last one to make the playoff field. Brandon Broadfoot came in tonight plus side on the points, I believe by like a point or 2. Brandon Broadfoot's running 15th right now. Didn't get any stage points, but If he keeps his truck clean and gets it to the end of the race, I'm assuming we'll probably have a little bit more chaos tonight. You could see him get another top 10, just like he had a top 10 at Richmond last week, and he could go from the last driver in to into the fast 12.
Be very difficult, and for those drivers that are right on that bubble line, if you will, the first four, the last four in for that March Madness term there, Tyler, as we're down the backstretch here into 3. I think, here tonight, you want to solidify yourself as much as possible, because next week, Tyler, when we head to Auto Club, a track that you can go 4, 5 wide on, a track that these drivers will waste no time getting ultra aggressive and but competitive and respectful. We all know that here in the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series. But I don't think, in my opinion, Tyler, I don't want my playoff hopes to rely on Auto Club.
No, you don't want to have to rely on Auto Club, but I think the big advantage of Auto Club is you can run so many different lanes. You don't have to necessarily sit behind the driver ahead of you. You can run all the way up against the fence. You can run all the way down the bottom. You can run the middle lane. If you're looking at Brandon Book, your 17th position in points, so first driver outside of the playoffs. But you're looking back throughout the field there, that's the 48 Robbie Richards. Hasn't had the night he's wanted so far, but he's just been kind of sitting around, dropped to the back early on, hasn't had any stage points. He's Charles Keller Jr., I think, is blown up for the final time. So his night is over now. So Steve Burnett and Sean Hamilton can get their trucks fixed. Maybe they can steal another spot or two, but that looks to be the end of Charles Keller now.
Yeah, that 99 always with the freshest paint schemes out on the racetrack. Never seem to get that 99 to finish a complete race, or like Kyrie Irving as a point guard in the NBA, can't get him to finish a complete season. As we're off corner number 2, Adam Newberg still our race leader in that 4.
Yeah, I think this cloud cover is really helping out the truck's balance right now. As you see Brady LaBeouf on 17-lap older tires, well, he's slowly reeling himself back into this pack. He started this restart all the way at the tail end of the field, requested an EOL because he was on such older tires. He's already worked himself just outside the top 10, just to the outside of Chris Blanchard, who has finally worked himself back in the top 10 after some earlier incidents, as we could call them.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good word for it there, Tyler, as we're side by side. A little bit of a more momentum coming from that low side lane into 3 and 4. Adam Newbert leading that low side lane. He has Parsons right behind him. Lumpkin in that 18 is that inside lane. Now that top side lane being led by Tim Hammond in the 69 as we're down to 1.
Interesting to see how Tim Hammond and Jason Morales are able to lead that outside lane. They have Carey Trabue there third in line, then Brian Chu, Brady LaBeouf, the 5 trucks on the outside. On the inside has Adam Newbert, Hunter Parsons, Justin Lumpkin, Dan Hagan, Jason Stevenson, and then Chris Blanchard there out the back. There's a couple of new names like, 3 wide here. Hammond got shuffled out of order. Jason Morales to the middle. That's going to take Carey Trabue with him. Brian Chu's going to dive to the bottom. We might get really single file here.
Yeah, interested to see what happened to the 69. And Tim Hammond was running on that top side lane, as you mentioned, with Jason Morales and the 5 behind him. We're 3 wide again. 3 wide again there, Tyler.
Morales into the fence.
No!
That truck has been really teetering on the edge of handling and just finally rubbed itself into the wall. It looks like the handling is going away from those trucks on the outside here as well on lap 86 of 140.
Oh my goodness, Tyler.
Right a little bit through the grass.
We have more action just popping off one after the other right now.
Brady LaBeouf went into the grass. Oh, he's going to lose it here. He's get off the fence. There's some damage to that 9 truck. Wow, everything just happened on the front straightaway there, Will, and through 3 and 4, everyone's gotten loose. Tim Hammond losing a lot of spots. He was sideways up against the wall, it looked like, in the quad oval. Meanwhile, out front, it's the Sick With It Motorsports teammates, Adam Newbert and Justin Lumpkin, battling for the lead.
Yeah, we'll have to queue up some replays for you folks at home watching along with us here in the Nazareth 360 Racing Network. All sorts of chaos just popped off right there on lap 87, but right now we're back to that side-by-side racing down the backstretch. Adam Newberg, still our race leader.
Carl Meza coming out of the pits after some more repairs, but guess who just went in the pits for repairs? That's right, Tim Hammond is down pit road right now. I think he made contact with that quad oval wall. That truck is significantly hurting as we see the battle for the lead raging on between Adam Newbert and Justin Lumpkin, teammates with Sick With It Motorsports.
Yeah, side by side right now around the corner, no separation at the top of the grid right now. Big push from Carey Trabue into 7, pushing Justin Lumpkin along on the top side lane. Only 3 trucks on that top right now, as that low side has about 5, as around 3 and 4. Lumpkin to the low side, throws a block on Newbert, new race leader. Justin Lumpkin, 18 off of 4.
I think those two teammates will be quite all right with that arrangement, just kind of pushing each other here, not having to race each other and worry about wrecking each other on accident. But, you know, who's not going to be content with that? That's Carey Trabue there leading the outside lane. And look who's finally caught back up with the pack after almost wrecking it off of 2, hitting the wall. That's Jason Morales. He's really caught back up with the pack after all the chaos that has happened since then. Drivers who have lost the draft, well, that's Brady LaBeouf and Cody not there, 18 seconds off this main pack.
As things are just getting very unpredictable right now in this green flag run, Tyler. You're starting to see some drivers turn into lawnmowers down that front stretch. Drivers not bouncing off that topside wall. Drivers getting very loose on these tires as well. Could we be creeping up on that green flag pit stop window?
I think it's still too early because a 50-lap run to the end on tires is going to be absolutely miserable for these drivers, especially see now the outside lane is going to be controlled by Lumpkin Newbert. They're picking Lumpkin got loose there, standing on the outside line. Hunter Parsons will take the lead here through the quad oval correction. Hunter Parsons will lead that lap as they'll pass the lap truck of Steve Barnett, who is back out on track making laps. May not be fast, but with the damage and drama, Curtis Rogers has lost internet connection, so he is falling out of service. So that's a spot for Barnett. Barnett should be able to get another spot on Charles Keller Jr., who's blown up here in a couple laps' time. Tim Hammond currently off track. There's some spots still available for Steve Barnett to make up here in the points.
Yeah, Steve Barnett's going to need all the points he can get. But if we can jump back up to those leaders here on the NASCAR 360 Racing Network, one thing I want to point out to the folks at home, Tyler, I don't like what's happening between Justin Lumpkin in the 18 and Adam Newbert in the 4. You saw just a little while ago, the 4 went to go bump draft the 18. The 18 did not like it at all. Almost went completely sideways in that middle lane. You see it still now down the backstretch into 3 and 4. The 4 keeps trying to pull to the low side, trying to break that draft. They are not comfortable in that top side lane.
Yeah, those drivers are the trucks right now don't have the tires with them to be making those moves, making those aggressive pushes. The trucks are very bent out of shape, very uncomfortable. That's going to make it more and more difficult for these drivers when they continue on. To see Morales not risking it as much, staying away from that outside wall. He's going to stay well tucked in line this time. So we see these drivers now kind of 2 by 2 by 2. Lumpkin's going to dive back to the bottom and kind of block off Parsons here, as we're looking to get to lap 95 of 140 here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
And that's exactly what Lumpkin wanted right there. He wanted to get away from the 4 of Newbert. Not that he didn't want a draft partner on that top side. It's just the way that the 4 was coming at him with that air. Just making the 18 just very uncomfortable on the top side. Looks a lot more comfortable on the low side lane. As now Justin Lumpkin, our race leader, takes us down the backstretch.
Yeah, a lot of things have shaken up here in the last 20 laps in the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series. NRE Power Systems 200 from Atlanta Motor Speedway. A lot of positions have changed hands. Right now, those Sick With It Motorsports teammates are 1-2. That's Justin Lumpkin and Adam Newbert. Meanwhile, in the second row, you have Hunter Parsons and Carey Trabue. Those two will not be teammates next year, I believe. Carey Trabue is going, I want to say...
Sideways! My goodness gracious, huge wreck on corner number 2. Lots of trucks involved.
No caution from iRacing. I'm wondering if Race Control will throw one. Yep, there is a caution flag from Race Control. That's the right call.
Wow.
Really messed up a lot there. Big trouble there. Jason Morales into the wall again. Raul Meza is definitely not involved, but a bunch of other drivers were involved there. We'll have to see.
Wow.
It started ahead here. Yep, there we go. That's Hunter Parsons sideways on the apron, and that's what set off this chain reaction.
We'll have to rewind it just a little bit there here, Tyler, as we watch
it on his own.
The entry. That's an excellent shot here on the NASCAR 360 Racing Network. And Tyler, what are you seeing here?
He gets on that red and white paint. It's super slick when these hot temperatures. Loses it on his own. Dan Hagan trying to avoid him. He's going to come up neck codes Jason Morales. Unfortunate for Morales. Brian Chu nowhere to go into the back of Morales, and it's on from there. Parsons also going to come up and just tag Chu a little bit, and he'll go into the outside.
Oh.
Donnie Lyons into the outside fence as well. A lot of chaos happening as leaders are down pit road.
Oh my goodness, there and Parsons, wins stage 1, kind of fades there in stage 2, starting to find a little bit more speed here in this green flag run to close out the race. Unfortunately, it's going to be a replay of what we saw last week from Parson. Tyler, very strong during the race, just not going to be the truck in victory lane.
Definitely not, as we're going to quickly take a commercial break and be back with you for the final run of the finish. It'll be about 40 laps when we go green here shortly, but we can take a quick commercial break as you see that incident again one more time. And we'll be back with live racing the finish here in race number 2 in the NRE Power Systems 200 as the race for the championship moves forward. We're back live in the NRE Power Systems 200 from the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway and the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series. Will Tiller, my friend, it has been a chaotic stage number 3. And now we have a new race leader, Cody Knott, playoff driver up front. Cody Knott's on old tires, and the rest of the field behind him's on fresh set of stickers. We'll see exactly how this plays out here when we go green in just about a few moments' time.
Yeah, here in hot Atlanta, it has been an absolutely crunk race from the start of this night. The drop of the green flag has just been wild. We had Parsons winning stage 1. We had Newbert stage 2, but let's see who's going to win the race here tonight as Cody Knott takes the green flag down the corner number 1.
Yeah, he spun his tires because he has no grip in those 4 Goodyears right now. Adam Newbert just absolutely blows by him on the restart. Adam Newbert will take the lead with his teammate Justin Lumpkin behind him. Cody Knott really stacking up that inside lane. That outside lane may entirely clear him by the time he out of line.
Yeah, and you see, I don't like to see that tire as things dissolved and then bottleneck down in the entry of 3. That could be disastrous for a lot of these drivers in the field if we see that again. But right now, Adam Newbert takes us across the line as a race leader. Huge run for the top side lane as Justin Lumpkin in the 18s now getting a big push up there. Now Newbert still clear on the low side. Takes us off the corner as a race leader.
Yeah, stick with the Motorsports again, controlling the inside and outside lanes. They're going to continue to do as much work as they can. Meanwhile, interesting to note, Tim Hammond back out on track. He's actually going to maintain the position over Steve Barnett, because Steve Barnett did not get by him while Hammond was repairing. Hammond now 11 laps down. Meza 6 laps down. Barnett 19 laps down. Those 3 drivers still running. Meanwhile, Kyle Hess, Sean Hamilton, those 2 playoff drivers are out of the race. Those 2 have taken it to the garage and ended their days.
Yeah, right now still keeping an eye out on the race at hand. One name that is surprising if we can stick with them here on the NASCAR 360 Racing Network. A driver that we're used to calling out a lot, and we haven't really called out here the last couple of weeks, Tyler, to be honest. is Nathan Maurer in the 971 here tonight, down 4 spots on the drop of the green flag, running in the 13th position. Yeah, you would say a top 15 is solid, but that's very far territory from a driver that's used to seeing victory lane.
Yeah, but that Nathan Maurer 971 machine doesn't need a good finish. He's already 50-plus points clear of the cut line. He just needs to finish. In a race we've seen so much attrition so far, his top 15 finish tonight will lock him in most likely on points into the next round. So he's running the race exactly how he wanted to coming in. Complete strategy call the entire way. So a good move for Nathan Maurer and for Justin White as well, his buddy behind him in the 14th position, who also was kind of in a similar boat coming in, just kind of needed to finish the race to advance to the next round.
Yeah, an incredible season for Nathan Maurer during that regular season run. But right now we're watching the battle brew between Tim Hammond at 69 machine and Brian Chu there. That's at the tail end of the pack. Two drivers that are just trying to make lemonade out of a lemon race, if you will. But things are getting very sketchy now, Tyler, on the front stretch down to corner number 1.
Yeah, 36 laps to go. This is when I figured we would have had green flag stops if we were going to have them, but with the pit window already being reached on lap 97, everyone came in. If you pit, that was your pit stop. You are not going to pit unless we have a caution flag with less than 20 to go at this point, because at that point, tires would be helpful with the way tire wear has happened tonight. Right now, though, Brady LeBeouf, after going through the infield and acting as a lawnmower with some damage on the left side of that 9 truck, he's back inside the top 10, fighting for positions.
Yeah, something just makes me incredibly nervous about this top grid right now, Tyler. It's almost like the same nervousness that I get when I'm climbing the stairs at a water park, and you feel the wetness of the stairs, but how high you are on those old concrete stairs. That's how I'm feeling about these drivers on the top pack right now. You see the air starting to get underneath these trucks. They're starting to get a little squirmy. You're starting to see drivers now starting to break lines at the top of this grid. I hope we can get pit stops in before these leaders have something disastrous happen to them.
Yeah, but it may take something disastrous for them to actually want to pit, because otherwise they're very much good to go to the end on fuel. It would only be a strategy call to come and get 4 Goodyear tires. And most of these drivers only have 1 set of tires left. Some of these drivers have no sets of tires left. Important to keep your eye out on, I believe Chris Blanchard, he is out of 4 fresh Goodyears. Brady LeBeouf is also, I believe, out of 4 fresh Goodyears. Robbie Richards the same. So drivers who have already made 4 to 5 pit stops are out of tires. Drivers with 3 pit stops only, they have an extra set remaining. So that leaves, your top 4 drivers: Newbert, Trabue, Stevenson, Lumpkin. They still have tires. Dan Hagen still has tires, as does Hunter Parsons. But pretty much everyone else outside of Brandon Bullock, Jason Morales, and Cody Knott, no one else has tires left.
No, and that's going to be a huge factor at the end of this race, as we have a side-by-side battle at the top across the start-finish line here. Going to make it 107 here down into the corner. Carey Trabue now in position to win back-to-back playoff races, Tyler. If he can keep it going, what a run it would be for the 7A driver, who is very quiet during the regular season, making a lot of noise in these playoffs.
Yeah, it goes the entire regular season without winning a race, and then starts the playoffs off with 2 quick wins. Would be an upset no one saw coming, except for maybe Carey Trabue. He hasn't finished worse than 6th in his last 6 races. Carey Trabue is a very, very talented driver who thrives on finishing in the top 5 week in, week out. He won the season opening Clash, although that wasn't a points race at Daytona, so he knows how to get it done on super speedways. But can he get it done here in the playoffs, which would help him even more entering the Fast 12?
Yeah, he needs it. He's locked in, but he wants another win underneath his belt. Tyler, we race for cash money here in the SimRacerHub.com. Truck Spirit, especially winning the NRE Power Systems 200 here in the ATL. It'd be a big win here going into Auto Club. See if things can stick to it right now. As we're around 1 and 2, going to ride on board with that 7 machine as we exit the corner here with Adam Newbert on his inside.
On top of winning cash, also Carey Trabue will be getting an additional 3 playoff points that would help him in the next round and the round after that. And the only round that doesn't help him, it would be the final 4, because he's just got to finish fast ahead of the other 3 drivers who are racing it. But the next 2 rounds, a win, that gives you 3 more points to start those rounds. So That'd be a huge advantage. We see lap trucks going to get put another lap down there. Adam Newbert's going to now take the outside lane. Jason Stevenson looks to the inside. He'll block again. Newbert controlling both lanes well so far. Newbert's going to jump back out to the outside, get in front of Carey Trabue. Trabue has to stick in line. There's nowhere for him to go. And then Newbert's going to come back down in front of Stevenson. Maybe a little slow, but he gets down just in time.
Yeah, these moves are just making me very nervous up here in the booth. Tyler, I don't know if you can see me, but my hands are starting to get a little sweaty up here, getting a little nervous, little butterflies in my tummy up here in the booth, watching these moves being made by these drivers here. The different air they're starting to feel, getting very nerve-wracking here down the backstretch.
Meanwhile, you're seeing those 8 drivers they were 4x4 essentially, 2 lines of 4. Now they're splitting up. There's only 3 trucks in that outside lane. Dan Hagan abandons the outside. Ray LaBeouf's going to try and fill that gap. He's going to get to the outside 100 Parsons. Oh, really close there between Newbert and Trabue through the quad oval.
Yeah, Newbert right there still throwing blocks on that low side of the lane. Carey Trabue on the top side. I was just looking on in that 18 up there with him. Excellent shot here on the NASRA 360 Racing Network. Adam Newbert in the 4 takes it down the backstretch.
Yeah, these drivers are just starting to push the envelope a little bit. Lap after lap, the sun came out for a quick second, then the clouds come back. And that sun stays out any bit longer here as we go through the final 26 laps of this race. That's really going to affect the handling of these trucks, Will.
And if you look at that scoring going at the top of your screen right now, Adam Newbert, playoff driver. Carey Trabue, locked in. Jason Stevenson, non-playoff driver. Chris Blanchard, playoff driver. Justin Lumpkin, non-playoff driver. Parsons, non-playoff driver. Brady LaBeouf, playoff driver. So about a 50-50 mix of non-playoff and championship drivers up here at the top of the grid.
And that's what super speedway races will do to you. It'll really break up the field. Some drivers have the luck, some drivers don't. I always felt like I never had any luck at super speedway races, never could find a way to finish them. Yeah, every once in a while I'd sneak away a top 3, Will, but most of the time I'd end up on the wrecker heading back home, licking my wounds at some of these plate races. So this is definitely not a style of racing for everyone, and in my opinion, sometimes feeds more into luck than it does skill.
Yeah, and with 25 laps to go here tonight, the NRE Power Systems 200, we invite you to turn the volume up wherever you are. Pop a headphone in if you're at work, because we're going to bring you the sights and sounds of Atlanta Motor Speedway one more time before we close out playoff race at number 2 here on the NASRA 360 Racing Network as we're down the backstretch. As Adam Newberg officially makes it 20 laps to go down the corner. Number 1, our race leader now back to blocking both lanes. Gonna cruise up on some lap traffic. That is Jason Morales in that 5 machine. Tyler, unfamiliar with territory. That 5 now doing a Ross Chastain on the top side wall.
Yeah, just kind of a bad night for Jason Rouse for starting off so strong and kind of just got put in a rough position there. Really nowhere else to go. It's so tight here in the corners at Atlanta Speedway. But now that we're just under 20 to go, I think we just take our opportunity to do our ones to watch here, Will. So coming down to it, I'll let you pick first. Who do you think is going to pull this race off?
Ooh, and we bust out my statistics, my sheets up here in the booth. Let me look at this right now as we're off the corner. Adam Newberg's to our race leader. My dark horse here tonight, a driver that I feel like could sneak into contention at the end of this race. I'm thinking, looking at it right now, Justin Lumpkin in the 18. I think is my dark horse right now. Been solid inside the top 5 here tonight. Been quiet. Hasn't really pressed too many issues. Hasn't really fought the way up to the top just yet. Been solid on that top side lane. Running some pretty good laps here tonight. Right now, Justin Lumpkin in the 18. A best lap of 31.04. Last lap of 32.02. So getting a little bit slower on the racetrack. But watch out for the 18.
I think the one you have to keep an eye on out tonight is actually a driver currently not in the top 10. That's your 11th place driver, Robbie Richards. He got it done at the season opener at Daytona, knows how to win on super speedways. You want to know how he did it, Will? You remember all his season opener? A big wreck on the last lap. He was the only guy to make it through. So, could we see the same thing as we see Darren Hagen just there on the board? They almost had the first domino falls, another truck in the wall on the outside. That's Brandon Bullock. That's one less truck that Robbie Richards has to pass, Will. I'm telling you, keep an eye out on that 48 machine here late in the race.
Yeah, your man's is right there in the 48 machine, almost wrapped up in that as you were talking about him at the same exact time. But right now, this lead pack is still stuck together. This lead pack is mixed up with some big movers here tonight. Adam Newberg, our race leader in that 4, of course. Carey Trabue in that 7, up 15 spots from the top of the green flag. Justin Lumpkin in 18. Now Carey Trabue leading the way on the top side lane as we're down the backstretch. Justin Lumpkin up 11 spots from the drop of the green flag. Brady LaBeouf inside the top 10, up 14 spots from the drop of the green flag. So some big movers inside the top 10.
Cody not well off the pace there. Looks like his truck has gone away from him here. He may have came down pit road, actually. Nope, still has not came down for 4 tires of fuel. So we have 15 laps to go here. That lead pack is now just, I want to say 10 trucks? No, 9 trucks. Bonnie Lyons well off the pace. So Robbie Richards' last truck part of this 9-truck lead pack here. Adam Newberg leads the way. He was your pole sitter tonight, ladies and gentlemen. He's control of the race and your stage 2 winner. So Adam Newberg getting it done when it matters. But, and I say but, it is a super speedway race. As we get closer and closer, as the laps wind down more and more, the pushes are going to be more aggressive, Will. Drivers are going to make bigger moves. Side drafting is going to get more aggressive. You're going to see these drivers really put it all on the line and try and win themselves into the next round.
Yeah, right now, as we come off of corner number 2, just ask the Golden State Warriors. You can have 73 wins in the NBA, a tie in NBA record season wins in a season, but not win when it means the most in the playoffs here tonight. Adam Newberg has an opportunity, as you just mentioned. Tyler has checked all the boxes here tonight very fast, has a stage win as well, but has to get that last box checked right now with 13 laps to go down to corner number 1.
And you look at some of the trucks up here, not all of them are perfectly clean. Stevenson has some damage. Brady LaBeouf has some damage. Brandon Broadfoot has some damage. Hunter Parsons has damage. A lot of these trucks have had kind of a rough night, and you're seeing it on them as you see that group behind. Donnie Lyons has caught back up with the lead pack. Nathan Maurer, Justin White, Dan Hagen now trying to close the gap, so that would make it a 13-truck lead pack if they get back together here before the end of this race, as we will see 12 laps to go this time. But
12 to go right now, as this is the money time, the crunch time, the right Twix, the left Twix, whatever kind of time you want to call it right now with 12 laps to go. These drivers know what's at stake. You can lock yourself into the next round of these playoffs. You can put some money into your pocket. You can take some weight off your shoulders heading up until the next week. Big wreck.
Justin Lumpkin got sent out the building, it looked like. He went for a wild ride.
Oh, no.
And Brady LaBeouf involved as well. I think that'll be the end of LaBeouf's night, and Will, I think you should never pick drivers again because the commentator's curse seems to be real for you right now.
Wow, Justin Lumpkin in the 18 just pulled off an ET impression and decided to phone home right there in the 18. Running solid inside the top 5 right there. You see him on the top side lane. Can't miss the 18. Oh, just gets a little bit squirrely in the middle side lane and just shoots up the top side wall like a Tony Hawk half pipe and does a clean 900. I give him a 9.5 out of 10 there, Tyler.
Brady LaBeouf's engine expired. He is out of the race. Justin Lumpkin's engine definitely expired, and he also went out of the stratosphere, I think, there. He is out of the race. So that's one playoff driver and one big name we thought could win this race out of contention tonight. Will, excuse me. And pit stops, everyone is in for 4 fresh tires except Adam Newbert, Carey Trabue, Hunter Parsons, Robbie Richards, and Justin White. So that is an interesting call. So everyone from like 6th on back is going to have fresh tires here. Should be interesting, Will.
Should be very interesting indeed. Again, we're going to ride on forward with Justin Lumpkin and the 18 machine here on the NASRA 360 Racing Network. Here tonight, it has been myself, William Tiller. Tyler Dittmer has been my co-host of the evening, and Adam Flieger has been the man giving you all those excellent shots, including that cockpit shot of the 18 of Justin Lumpkin. But if you've been liking what you've been seeing here tonight on the NASRA 360 Racing Network, we invite you to go check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter as well. Like, share, follow, stay up to date with all the iRacing action that comes at you here almost every day of the week, Tyler. But I think right now, it would be an excellent time, Tyler, to maybe catch up with our second place driver, a driver who won last week. That's the 7 of Carey Trabue. Take it away, Tyler.
Yeah, I'm with your second place driver right now, Carey Trabue. Carey, you've been up front most of the evening. You won last week at Richmond. Does it allow you to kind of come into this race and race freely, trying to get the win tonight and get more playoff points?
Yeah, I was trying to get up there, but I guess I got into the 51 a little bit, and they gave me the EOL, so it's all good. But yeah, I've been trying to race a little bit harder, but if anybody got caught up in those wrecks, I didn't mean to get them caught up.
Yeah, that was a while back. Now you're starting on the front row here on this restart against Adam Newbert. You have Hunter Parsons, Robbie Richards, Justin White, and then 6th on back, you have a lot of drivers with fresh Goodyear tires. Was that a strategy call to stay out there, or did you just forget to pit?
I was seeing what Adam was going to do. I was going to do the opposite, but kind of just committed to staying out right at the last second, thinking there's going to be more cautions here.
Well, that's definitely a possibility tonight. We've seen these trucks get super loose. As we're about to go back green flag racing. I'll let you go back, Carey, talk with your team, and make a good run at the finish here. But best of luck rest of the way.
All right, thank you.
That was your second place driver, Carey Trabue, and we'll get this grid reset for you. We're about to go back green flag racing here with just under 8 laps to go. Row number 1, Adam Newbert with Carey Trabue to the outside. Row number 2, Hunter Parsons and Robbie Richards. Row number 3 has Jason Stevenson and Justin White. First time in the top 10 pretty much all night for him. Row number 4, Chris Blanchard and Brandon Broadfoot. Row number 5, Dan Hagan, Donnie Lyons. Row number 6, Nate Maurer, Brandon Bullock, and rounding out your drivers still in the lead lap, Brady LaBeouf and Jason Miles, but Brady LaBeouf will probably be in this time for damage repairs. We're about to go green flag racing. Adam Newbert going to lead the field to the green. The NRE Power Systems 200. He gets a great jump. Carey Trabue spins the tires. Drivers are not going well in the outside lane. Inside lane got a great jump there, though, Will.
Yeah, it's Dale Jr. time with 8 laps to go. Oh my goodness, already getting a little squirrely as we enter one low side lane. Is like a choo-choo train, choo-choo, off corner number 2 down the backstretch.
Yeah, you saw Robbie Richards left Carey Trabue out there as he had a terrible restart. Trabue can't get to the bottom. He had an opportunity there, chose not to. He's going to go with Stevenson. Broadfoot's meanwhile going to stay at the bottom. Robbie Richards needs to pick a lane. Oh, Broadfoot takes the inside. Now you're going to see drivers scatter and find a new position. Richards will lead the outside. Blanchard's going to go up to block him. Nope, he's going to dive back to the bottom. Outside, that's Hunter Parsons and Justin White going to the lead.
In a sense of where did he come from, Justin White, and that 2 truck has not been in the mix at all here tonight, not even inside the top 10, I don't think, Tyler. At least I haven't been paying attention to that too, but I am paying attention now. Currently in the 3rd position of 15 spots from the drop of the green flag. The 2 machine wants a shot here tonight after being in contention the last couple of weeks as we come off of 4. Adam Newber saw a race leader, but things getting very dicey as we enter into the first corner.
Chris Blanchard has the freshest tires here of anyone up front. Brandon Broadfoot, the second freshest tires, and it shows. Those 2 trucks are not wobbling around like the rest of the field is here. Brandon Broadfoot, Chris Blanchard, they're going to be 2nd and 3rd. Can they work together to get the lead here? Justin White really struggling on his old tires, along with Adam Newbert and Hunter Parsons. I'm looking to see if Broadfoot and Blanchard will work together here, knowing they are on the freshest tires. Dan Hagan also on fresh tires there, sitting in 4th.
Yeah, Blanchard right there behind the 4 as we cross the start-finish line here. On the front stretch, we have a truck into the wall there. See if it causes calamity. It does not. Everybody's just going to take that in stride, keep it moving, keep it grooving. And as that truck keeps bouncing off the top side wall, I believe it's the 39 of Dan Hagan there, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was Dan Hagan, 39. Is that Bray LaBeouf just slowing down on the inside? I think his truck's finally given up on him, but he's still trying to make laps. Meanwhile, single file up front, the first 6, 7 trucks, first side by side. Brandon Broadfoot gets shoved out of line. He's going to look to the outside of Blanchard. Does anyone go with him? I'm surprised no one went with him. He's on fresh tires, but no. Oh, Justin White down through the infield.
Justin White is now on the apron. See if he can re-enter cleanly. Doesn't do it there to have a second try. Justin White in the 2 machine. I think you're absolutely right there, Tyler. I need to stop talking about drivers. The minute I did, he lost the pace on the racetrack. Right now, as Adam Newbert takes us off of 4, it is becoming clear of who will have a shot at the end. But boy, my hat goes off to Jason Stevenson, the 93, arguably having the best race of the season here tonight at Atlanta, currently in 4th.
Yeah, that BP Racing for Autism 93 having a great run. He's on fresh tires here along with Broadfoot and along with Blanchard. Can they make some moves? Well, they got company behind him. That's Maurer and Lyons also on fresh tire. Meanwhile, the inside lane still controlled by Adam Newbert, Chris Blanchard, Hunter Parson. Blanchard with the freshest tires of the 3 in that group. Can he make a move here as well? We'll get 2 to go this time by.
2 to go right now. It is deuce time right now as Adam Newbert's trying to piece out the competition right now off of corner number 2. You see which driver has that dog mentality as we dig down to corner number 3. Just a few more corners to go here in NRE Power Systems 200.
Do we get the white flag, Will Tiller? They're going to try. We should see it this time by as they keep it straight. Chris Blanchard will lead this lap. White flag in the air.
White flag is in the air right now as we go down to corner 1. Chris Blanchard's our race leader. Contact on the entry of 1. Big wreck, big pile up on the entry of 1.
Richards gets spun by Hagan. Adam Newbert will have no pressure behind him. If we can get up to the race leader, he's a 1.5 second lead clear of Hagan. Adam Newbert will escape the calamity of Atlanta Motor Speedway and coast to a victory in the NRE Power Systems 200 as the field implodes behind him. Dan Hagan looks to come home 2nd. Brandon Bullock will get by Robbie Richards for 3rd. And Adam Newbert wins the NRE Power Systems 200 here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. The 4 Stick With It Motorsports machine gets the job done. Once everyone crosses the finish line, we'll get you your final results, ladies and gentlemen. But chaos here on the final lap.
Yeah, and Tyler, as we're going to watch the replay here in the Nazareth 360 Racing Network, I, along with the folks at home, probably didn't want that race to end like that. As you see, the majority of our top 5 on the racetrack is going to get taken out on the entry of 1 and 2 right there. Our race is going to end essentially on that corner as Adam Newbert's going to have a parade lap the rest of the 75% of the racetrack there to snag what was an incredible race victory for the 4. Not to take anything away from Adam Newbert, just absolutely dominated here in Atlanta. But to have the race end like that, just not the greatest finish. What was an extremely exciting race throughout.
Yeah, kind of a lack of patience there. It looked between Stevenson and Blanchard to his outside. Hagan spins. Hagan and Richards may have cost themselves a chance at beating Newbert is you're going to watch those two red trucks on the bottom. They're going to actually touch and spin each other there. They probably could have caught Newbert if they didn't essentially wreck each other. Those two will be kicking themselves, but Hagan apologized over the radio to Richards, saying he's sorry about how that happened. You watch the 48 and the 39 there on the inside, those two red trucks. They're going to get clear of the initial incident, but the 39's just going to clip Robbie Richards in the middle of 1 and 2 and going to cost them a chance of hunting down your leaders right there.
And I just think, Tyler, you look at the drivers involved in this accident. There's a couple of drivers that were non-championship. There were a couple of drivers that were championship drivers. After next week's results at Auto Club, do you think we're going to look back at this last lap, corner number 1, of who advances through?
Yeah, it's just, we'll look at the final results now. We'll pull out. You see Maurer gets involved in the last lap. Morales gets involved even more so. We'll bring up the final results here for the ladies and gentlemen at home. Things just kind of devolves. Adam Newbert does his Alan Kulwicki Polish victory lap here, but I do want to take this time and look at our final race results, ladies and gentlemen. Your winner, Adam Newbert. Second place, Dan Hagan, non-playoff driver. Third place, Brandon Bullock, non-playoff driver. The next playoff driver outside of Adam Newbert, that's Robbie Richardson, 4th. Carey Trabue, another top 5, continues the solid runs. Donnie Lyons, non-playoff driver. He's 6th. Justin White, playoff driver. He was pretty much already locked into the next round. This will solidify with his 7th place finish. Hunter Parsons, non-points driver. Jason Stevenson, non-playoff driver. Chris Blanchard with a top 10. Good finish for him after struggling early on and missing out on some stage points. Jason Morales rebounds after getting wrecked for an 11th place finish. Nate Maurer locking himself into the next round with that 12th place finish. Brandon Broadfoot finishes 13th. Cody Knott 14th. And Brady LaBeouf rounds out your top 15. A bunch of playoff drivers there in a row from 11th through 17th, it seems.
Yeah, and just looking down the rest of the field real quick, you got Raul Meza in the 37, finishing 16th. Justin Lumpkin in the 18, finishing 18th. Just a quick look at the rest of this field. Sean Hamilton, the 89, is going to finish 23rd. Kyle Hess in the 86 is going to finish 24th. Steve Barnett, you talked about that name coming in here tonight. 42 is going to finish 20th here tonight. 18 laps down. Tyler, what an incredible race it has been here tonight from Atlanta. But we're going to step aside for our last break of the evening. We'll be right back for that post-race recap show here on the Nazareth 360 Racing Network.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're back here with your post-race show with the NRE Power Systems 200 and a wild finish here. Adam Newbert winning the race, but right now your third-place finisher, Brandon Bullock, is standing by with my broadcast partner, Will Tiller.
My man, Brandon Bullock in that 17 machine, going to finish third here tonight. I'm sure he was as surprised as we were with a podium finish from that 17 machine. Brandon's going to feel good to finally be back on the podium here in the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series. Let's talk about tonight's race. How'd you feel out there, and what'd you think about that finish?
Well, on the finish, I was surprised that I made it. Typically, in something like that, if I try to avoid it, I'm going to end up in the middle of it no matter what. But got lucky this time. So yeah, it feels good to be back on the podium too.
And what when my broadcast partner here tonight was trying to describe the new Atlanta to me, I'm used to the old Atlanta with the formation of like a Charlotte or a Las Vegas. What's so different about this Atlanta Motor Speedway that makes it more so of a Daytona or a Talladega style race?
I don't know that it's a huge difference. It's more of you figure Daytona, but a spot that you got to let off to enter your corner. So that kind of makes it a whole lot different than those two places too.
And Brandon here, as we're in playoff race number 2 right now, and take a look back on this season. We haven't got a chance to talk to you here recently. Reflecting on this past season for that 17 truck, what are your thoughts, and what do you think you can improve on next season in that 17 truck?
I think a lot of times it was just trying to get the better luck at the end of a race instead of getting wrecked out before the end. So some of that's, me being in the right place at the right time.
Well, here tonight you do exactly that, avoiding the chaos right there at the end. The majority, I'd say about 5 or 6 or maybe even 7 trucks collect themselves. That opens the door for Brandon Bullock to finish 3rd here tonight. And Brandon, with that podium finish, we would love to give you the opportunity to shout out anybody that you had watching here tonight. Any sponsors that made this race possible for you, or anybody that you'd like to thank?
Yeah, we've got a list of sponsors. We got Warrior Wraps, Poinor, Amsoil, Pulse Poppers, Sim Speed Shop, Team Watson Racing Setups, Crack Bar Media, Fat Daddy Meat, Speed Ranch Shocks, Raise Energy, Butt Kicker, 501 Replicas, Martin Sports, and RTR Material. And
Well,
then, of course,
Brandon,
the family as well.
yeah, of course. Can't forget about the family. You'll get in trouble if you don't do that.
Indeed.
Well, Brandon Bullock was able to avoid all the craziness on the last lap. That opens the door for him to finish 3rd here tonight at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Brandon Bullock, 3rd here tonight in the NRE Power Systems 200. Brandon, we appreciate you taking the time with us here, my man. We'll see you next week at Auto Club.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yes, sir. And Tyler, that was Brandon Bullock in that 17 truck coming home 3rd here tonight. He was surprised after avoiding all that craziness on the last lap that he snagged a 3rd place finish. But I believe it is time, and you are catching up with our 2nd place finisher, Dan Hagan, in that 39 machine.
Yes, I am. Well, I'm here with Dan Hagan, your 2nd place finisher tonight in the NRE Power Systems 200 in that 39 machine. Dan, looked like you may have had a chance to work with Robbie to run down Adam Newbert. You kind of got into him a little bit there. I heard you over the radio apologizing for that, but definitely a great run for you tonight. We haven't had a lot of opportunities to talk with you this season. What was it that allowed you to have as solid of a run tonight?
Hell yeah, I got an interview tonight, boys. Oh man, just kind of pushing as hard as I could there. This is a really weird track, especially with the new repave and everything. And it was tense, man. I got to say, I'm sorry to Robbie. My nerves were cranking there at the end, and I tried to get to the inside of him there on the apron, and I just botched it and got into him, man. But super, super pumped, man. It feels good to be talking to you guys.
Yeah, you mentioned that repave and how it's affected Atlanta. We heard Brandon Bullock saying you have to blip the throttle entering the corner. Having raced here myself, I can attest to that. But it still does feel like a Daytona-style race. Really, it's only 2 lanes, not a 3rd lane. How did you approach this race, and what was it like having these trucks slip around as much as they did on old tires?
Honestly, it was a lot of fun. If you do the official races here, you can pretty much keep it matted the whole time, and that's intense too. But this, whatever the settings were for the track tonight, the conditions, you were sliding around a lot, so it was a lot of hanging on and just trying to not to get into people like Robbie.
Yeah, and you were one of the few drivers that came in pit during that final caution with about 10 laps to go, giving you much fresher tires over the field around you. Was that a strategy call to just do something different in order to have that tire advantage, considering how much tire fall off there was later in those runs?
I honestly couldn't believe that anybody stayed out. When I saw that people were staying out, I was thinking that's insane. There's no way you could do that because I was getting loose. I don't know, earlier on, I was running up in front and then I had to back out because I was totally sideways and I got back about 12th. So there was no chance that I wasn't going to take tires.
Well, Dane, great to have you here tonight. And we appreciate you being so enthusiastic about these interviews. You know, sometimes people aren't as enthusiastic as you are. We're glad we were able to finally get you an interview this season. But before we let you go, the best part about the night is thanking everyone who makes it happen for you. So is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, man, absolutely. I got to thank my beautiful fiance, my mom, my dad, my stepdad. You know, they're always watching every weekend, and it means the world to me. All my teammates on Warrior, man, it's a bunch of great dudes. I love those guys. I look forward to this Mondays and Fridays. It's good to get with the boys and race. Man, Warrior Wraps, Pulse Poppers, Speed Shop, Team Watson setups, Butt Kicker. There's a couple here I can't even pronounce, but screw it. My boys in AJR. You know, just everybody that's watching me, man. It's fun. I love this crap, and can't wait to get my first win here soon.
Yeah, well, that's definitely a big step in the right direction. Second place, just one spot short of that elusive win. I feel like we'll definitely be seeing you more up front, especially on these super speedways in the near future. But again, congratulations tonight on your second place finish, and we hopefully we can talk to you maybe a couple more times before the season's over.
Oh, it's coming, my man. It's coming.
All right, that was your second place finisher, Dan Hagan. Meanwhile, though, Will Tiller, you're standing by with our race winner, Adam Newbert.
As the dollar bills begin to fall down here in Victory Lane, the Vince McMahon walkout song, the Money, 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 begins to play here in Victory Lane. Adam Newbert back in Victory Lane here in the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series. Adam, I was starting to think about 13 days in here in the month of March that wasn't going to be the same style of driving we saw in February. Adam, you erased all doubts here tonight, getting the win at Atlanta, locking yourself into the next round of the playoffs here. Break it down. How you got it done here tonight?
I don't know. I'm still confused, Will, because every truck race I've ran in the month of March has been top 3. You know what I mean? Because the other 2 races I missed.
Right. But in the month of February, winning 5 out of 8, though.
Yeah, we're back, though. Money Man's back. We got to come up with a better nickname than Money Man. We got to come up with something better than that.
That's it.
Money Man. Well, I'll tell y'all what. I really am really happy about winning this race. This is my home track, and I've been wanting to win at Nazareth, at Atlanta for a long time. My best finish here was second in Friday night back in like season 4. I think that was the closest I've come to winning here. And I thought when this track went to a plate track or a super speedway track, I thought that every single chance I had of ever winning here again was gone because I do not ever do good at these super speedway races. I'm so shocked that we led the most laps tonight, come away with the stage win, and won the race. I mean, I cannot believe that. And I guess I just keep finding ways to not lose these things because I had that race lost right there. They were going to pass me. Blanchard was going to blow by me on the outside with those fresh tires. And I had found a way to lose that race. And then, I don't know, somehow the seas just parted. And, you know, I saw the Gold River. So, you know, yeah, I don't really know what to say about that. That's just, I don't know, that's just the way our luck's been going recently. That's just a lot of luck that we've been having. That's 4 wins in the last 6 races on Monday night. That's huge points advantage tonight. Coming in 22 points out, missing last week. This was a huge need for today. All I wanted to do was not wreck today, so we definitely achieved that.
Yeah, Adam, in some of these leagues you're racing in Nazareth, you have to race an uphill battle in order to advance in some of these rounds. But here tonight, I do believe mathematically you might have locked yourself into the next round If not, I believe you can finish maybe the top 20, top 15 next week. Not have to worry about it there. But Adam, you just touched on it there. You survived tonight's race. Very tight, very 2x2 racing throughout tonight's race. Do you like that style of race, or would you have preferred to get out in that clean air?
I don't like super speedway racing at all. I've never been a fan of it. Everybody knows I complain about them every time we go to the super speedway. I'm like, why the heck do we go to so many super speedways? So yeah, I definitely would like to just stay single file. There were times there we were just all kind of riding, chilled out. And I really was enjoying that a whole lot better than when we were double file. And I don't know who y'all talked to tonight, but these trucks were so loose on old tires. And I mean, I think we were probably on what? We pitted at like round lap 100 right there, so we were on like 40 lap old tires, probably a little bit before 100. So we were on pretty old tires right there, and everybody else being on like 30 something, 40 lap old fresher tires. These things were so loose. I thought a couple times that when Blanchard got to my outside, I was going to lose it. And I think there was a lot of guys out here struggling. You saw some guys spin out because they got so loose, and they'd go into a corner and the truck would get loose and they'd overcorrect, or something else would just happen. They'd go on the apron. You saw a lot of wrecks like that tonight. So just the fact that we could hang on to it, just awesome.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. A few trucks starting to get sideways. And Adam, I'd like to ask you here, when you were coming off of 2 down that backstretch, when was about the point the spotter came across the radio and let you knew that that last lap was essentially going to be a parade lap for you?
Well, whenever they started wrecking, Justin Lumpkin was out of the race, and he told me, he was like, it's yours. And then I looked in the mirror, and I saw Robbie get turned by, I think, Dane Hagen. And I knew for sure there was good. I thought, if Rob would have kept going, maybe he'd have pulled my draft and had a chance. But when I saw him spin, I was like, it's over. And then I was like, and then my next thought was, I wonder if the track is clean in front of me. And I'm like, surely it's clean in front of me. They wrecked into turn 1.
So you gotta make sure it's good for that parade lap.
These paranoia thoughts just go through my mind in these situations. And yeah, the track was clean and it was just cruising. I mean, I couldn't. I was stressing hard right there too because I was so loose. I thought I was going to wreck the truck, racing side by side with Blanchard.
Well, Adam, with a win here tonight, we talked about that next round. Auto Club before that next round next week. Do you like Auto Club? What do you think your chances are there? Are you going to race it hard, knowing that you're all but locked in? What's the mindset heading into next week?
I don't know if we're locked in or not. We'll have to see the points. We were 22 points out. I missed last week, so it's not. I'm not a win in, you're in. My win doesn't lock me into the next round. So, gonna try to get some good points. I kind of like Auto Club. It's a track that people are gonna be able to get spread out at, and I like the fact that you can get spread out. And it's kind of a driver's track too. Takes a little bit of throttle control. Off those corners when those things start to get loose and everything. So I got to go for some more points. I can't lay down and just ride in the back the whole race. I got to get some more points next week, but I think we're in a pretty good position. I can't wait to see when these points come out.
Yes, sir. We can't wait either. Be sure to keep up with that on Facebook or Twitter for the new points results here in the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series. But tonight's winner, Adam Newber, in that Ford machine. A huge congratulations from us up here in the booth. But Adam, before we let you go, my man, I think you know the drill with all these W's here you've been racking up here at Nazareth. Anybody you'd like to say hi to? Anybody you'd like to thank? Any sponsors that made this race possible for you?
Yeah, I think Dittmer gave me some good luck too, didn't you?
Oh, probably. I knew you were going to be up front, so I figured you'd be up there battling for wins, and I expect you to put on a show, and you did just that.
Yeah, that was awesome. So yeah, I just got to thank Ladanco tonight, being on board the truck. Got to thank Jeff Sickles at Stick With The Motorsports, all my teammates, Justin Lumpkin and Brian Shue. They raced their hearts out tonight, and I feel really heartbroken for those guys. They ended up in some mishap, and they were both really strong and running up top 5. I know Brian needed a good race tonight. Justin was huge help tonight, just pushing me and everything. I got to thank all of our sponsors: Millie's Landing, Millie's Restaurant and Catering, Millie's North, A's Lawn and Landscaping, Dare's Nail Gun Repair, First Pacific Funding, Roofco Group, the Spatulas, the Family Handyman, and then all y'all at Nazareth 360 Racing Network, and Sim Racer Hub. Got to thank y'all. Everybody, y'all do a great job in the booth. Appreciate y'all being in the booth all the time. And thank Brady for putting on this series. I think this is a great series. This is arguably beginning to become possibly. I mean, tonight was a plate race. There's a lot of cautions tonight. A lot of stuff going on. I think this series is starting to arguably become the best series in NASCAR. I gotta be bold, and I'm gonna say it, and I'm just gonna put it out there because that's my feelings. I really enjoy racing in this series. Every Monday night.
Well, Adam, we appreciate you taking the time with us here, my man. Once again, a huge congratulations on this win at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We sure do love seeing you racing here Monday nights, just as well as you love racking up wins in this series on Monday nights. Adam Newbert, your winner here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. See you next week, Adam, and hopefully you can keep this run going in the month of March. Now, Adam Newbert, number 4. Here tonight. We appreciate it, man.
Thank y'all.
Well, Will, just finishing up with our race winner, Adam Newbert. But Will, an absolutely exciting second race here in the playoffs, round of 16. We'll have those updated points for the fans out sometime this week on our social channels, as well as updated before the race next week on the broadcast. Will, definitely looking forward to see what some of these drivers do. And a lot of these drivers are in a tough position coming into this race next week at Fontana.
Yeah, and this is where we usually recap the race and we talk about our thoughts. But if we could, here at the NASCAR 360 Racing Network, if we could pop up the point standings coming into tonight. Now, I wanted to ask you, Tyler, looking at those finishing results, we look at the point standings, we look at those results, which drivers had a disappointing night? Which drivers do you think helped themselves? And which drivers do you think are moving on?
Well, Steve Barnett obviously having the most disappointing night. He made up a little bit of ground thanks to the wrecks of Sean Hamilton, Kyle Hess. Tim Hammond didn't have a great night either. Brandon Brathwaite, top 15. That'll do well for him. Chris Blanchard, another top 15. Cody Knott, top 15. Raul Meza did not have a great night, but he was able to at least keep his truck running. Robbie Richards finishes 4th. That's a solid night. Morales is a top 15. Brady LaBeouf finishes 15. So really the drivers who struggle most will be Steve Barnett, Sean Hamilton, Kyle Hess, Tim Hammond a little bit as well. But Adam Newbert's going to jump well into the green with his performance tonight. Nathan Maurer should be locked in. Justin White should also be locked in. So I think you'll see 3 drivers locked in on points as we look at next week's point standings, looking forward to the Fast 12 once we get through Auto Club.
So essentially what we're looking at now, heading into Auto Club, you're looking at Adam Newbert essentially flip-flopping with Kyle Hess possibly in the green, and that would give us the same, let's call it red drivers heading into Auto Club with Brian True, Tim Hammond, we look at Steve Barnett, and then now including Kyle Hess?
Yeah, Kyle Hess or Sean Hamilton are going to be in the red probably next week. Adam Newbert will be in the green. Maybe Tim Hammond gets in the green because he was able to at least keep the truck running at the end of the night. Brandon Brathwaite should gain a few points on the cut bubble. So I think Steve Barnett's going to be in a dominate to move on situation next week. But like you said, I think Adam Newbert can move on with the top 15 next week.
Boy, a lot of things to watch out for Auto Club next week, Tyler. Tonight's race just showed us the intensity levels that we're going to see here in these playoff races. I cannot wait to see the race at Auto Club next Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But here tonight, Tyler, it was the money man himself. They're going to need to come up with a new nickname for him, but racking up all those W's here. We can call it the Rocket Man, if you will. I know that's Ryan Newman's nickname, but right now, nobody's faster than that Ford machine here at NASCAR. And Tyler, he fought through everything, all the adversity, all the pressure he felt. This was not an easy race to win, but he got it done here tonight.
Yes, he did, Will. And like you said, next week at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we'll be here with the final race of the round of 16 at Auto Club Speedway. And then the week after that, we start the Fast 12, Watkins Glen, first and only road course on the season, Will. So the next 2 weeks go from a very wide multi-groove racetrack to the tricky track up in upstate New York. Will, should be a fun couple of weeks coming up. But for now, we will wish everyone watching at home a great evening. Thank you all for tuning in. That's Will Tiller. I'm Tyler Dittmer. Adam Flieger giving you all the great shots tonight and doing his amazing production work behind the booth. We wish you all a great evening and hope you all tune in next week to watch the final race of the Sweet 16.